For us, though, we will see you. I will see you shortly at the green screen. Joseph, leave him with a thought.
Have a good weekend. Don't ruin if you have a positive week. Make sure you have those stops in place. Headline-sensitive market. Make sure everything is cool.
Peace.
I'm not muted. Physical evidence. Proof.
Wow, Ramin.
No, I had no. It's no, I know what it was. I just turned it on like 30 seconds ago. It probably didn't register over there.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of curious what this quote was going to be that Joe was going to throw out for everybody. You can't just, I got this. I
didn't know we were expecting a quote.
No, he just goes, I got this thing I've been thinking about. I think you guys are really going to like it. But I'm not going to say it now. But I really, really think you guys are going to love this. But it just got to be prepared to do it right. No, that's fair enough. We didn't really move. Kind of expecting we'd move a little bit more when we had would
have been nice.
Trump coming through, but you never really know what's going to happen. Ultimately, there was some good strength back in the market. I know we're trending up and we're back to green. The market's done that. We've been calling it the yo-yo action, right? Where for every down move, there's an equal. Or it's trending up, but for every down move, you kind of go up, down, in a steady and slow fashion to the upside here, which is good. I just want to get back into Apple off VWAP if we can. If we're gonna go yo-yo, then Apple, I like its trend. We talked about this morning, how it was just strong all day. From the very open, it's only been making higher lows and higher highs, essentially since the first bottom. So I like this one for some afternoon longs. Just make sure that I'm actually in the chat here. Close the right one. But it's been a wild week. Remember, it is holiday shortened. The market's closed tomorrow, so you will see a Friday-style close. Should mean that maybe there'll be bigger imbalances than normal because you're ending the week and options expiration, all that kind of good stuff, although a lot of that happens in the morning. So good look so far. If the stream doesn't switch over, you always got to do it manually, Mine usually doesn't, so I have to.
Yeah, mine never does.
I'm in there now, so if you're watching us and you haven't flipped over, just go flip over. It should be a fun afternoon show. I know you guys have a guest this afternoon for the market recap as well.
Yeah.
And we got big earnings tonight. We care about the TSM matters, but Netflix tonight's going to be big. TSM, I think, was a big one. Mattered a lot to the market. Look at how the chips are doing. Lots of volatility there. And we'll see how Netflix does. I like Netflix. I'm not doing anything with my shares, but I'll be.
I'm not.
I'll be glued to it.
I think it's a little foolish to position yourself ahead of earnings.
I hate doing it.
To make a call one way or the other on all that.
Do you know the only time I've ever done it? No, it's not. I've never positioned myself into something, but I've sold something that I wasn't a huge fan of because it's I don't love this, so I get an opportunity to not risk through earnings and take something off of it. That's the only time I've ever traded or in my personal account before earnings in a long-term position.
I just want to say we're getting out. It's funny because we were gone and I was sitting right there at 92.25 to get more long on Palantir. I went down to 92.30. We weren't here when that happened. It was just a small position. It would have been a quarter of a unit and then punching out at 92. So we still have that stop in. It just came right back up to VWAP again. So we'll take a piece out there at VWAP, VWAP, another out for Palantir. But you know what? The runner here is SoFi.
Let's go.
Adair brought the story and I should have just punched long. Basically, it was funny because it ripped immediately, and then when it went back, and we heard the story from Adair, it was back down into 1080, and I just thought, okay, well, if it gained all the way back, then obviously whoever hit either that was a fat finger all the way to the upside, and it's not that big of a story, or, and at the end of the day, it does get that new move upside. Something about a hold on a second. Let me check out exactly what that story was right here for SoFi. About the more debt or something. They got restructuring, or they got a SoFi now. It says $2 billion extension of loan platform business. Yeah, so extension there of the loan. So that'll be good. Fortress Investment Group there. So yeah, good to see, obviously. And we'll wait to see what happens now with SoFi moving a little bit higher. Finally, we get a little bit of a catalyst here on some of these names. There's catalysts all over the place, but for SoFi, we've been sort of waiting for it to do something. Oh, here it is.
Do something, SoFi.
Here, I'm going to move it toward the days over there. Yeah, so let's get to do something, and it is trying to break out right now. What about 11, you may say, on SoFi? I mean, that looks pretty good to me. We have that top tick rate here in and around 11.02. If we get going through there, I do think we probably get to this 11.25 marker. And not only that, some of the banks are doing a little bit better today than expected anyways. JP Morgan up 1.8. So the banks are starting to outpace the rest of the market here. So SoFi, if you get on the back of that, it would make a little bit of sense to me to do that today. So yeah, man, so far so good here today. Palantir, SoFi, Google, that's the stuff that we're going to be looking at. But we do have Sharif ready to go at the screen. Let's do our best segment. It's the rundown.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to join Joseph and I on the midday show and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But you've got to be a subscriber in order to vote and engage with us. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. Here's a look at the triple Qs, guys. We're at local highs right now, up almost 0.2% on the NASDAQ. So not a bad look. Higher lows all throughout. Some good catalysts today for some Mag 7 names, some red and some green, a mixed bag for the Mag 7. The first ticker, though, as decided by you guys, Hertz. Very interesting move today, up nicely on the day, up nicely yesterday as well, after we got word that Pershing Square Capital Management disclosed a stake via 13F. CNBC reported that Pershing Square stake is about 19.8% through both shares and swaps, guys. He's been building, Bill Ackman, that is, vis-a-vis his hedge fund, his position without disclosing that using a special SEC rule.
All right, so we've probably said enough. We've said enough about the special SEC rule. We talked about it in the aftermarket show. We talked about it this morning, and suffice to say, look, does anyone actually think it's fair? Not really. I don't think you'll find anyone around here that does, but look, it's squeezing right now. It was 39% short float before. Whatever it is right now, hopefully for the sake of the shorts, it's less. If they didn't get out when they had the opportunity, because this is the thing, I don't know, if you're winning like this on the south side and we start breaking out on something like this, squeezing, take the win, baby. If you're just letting it go, let it go, let it go. They still be in the money, but you got to imagine that some of the squeeze is starting to abate as you get into a bit of a chop zone. Didn't end up taking that dip off the failed break. Right after we ended the show, get up. I wasn't at my desk when it did the failed break of 8. So there's your failed break of the $8 double top. It does hold VWAP, which is what you want to see. I think that $8 level looks like a good place, if not the volume weighted average price to go dip buy hunting. I like Apple a little. Well, we'll get to Apple. I like that for some VWAP dip buy hunting. But Hertz, I think this is just a pure squeeze play. I don't even know. Sometimes you'll get this is the opinion of why I think it's good. Cohen will say something about maybe GME or Chewy. Ackman will say his reasons behind Hertz. I don't even know. I just care about the momentum. And at this point, prior highs for dips on a breakout play make some sense. It's going. Got to go with it. Oh, one thing. Nvidia broke VWAP. At the same time, it should be somewhat obvious. But once Intel broke that 19 from this morning, I got out. So 19 was so there's VWAP on Nvidia. But once Intel broke 19, I jumped out of that trade. We got one more VWAP press out of it. But now you're going higher. Oh, no, this chart too. But so we're starting to break out on the NASDAQ. We're starting to break out on the chip names as well.
So Martinez, yeah, same way, out of more than 90% of Palantir. Look at it going to the upside right now. We just got out at VWAP, then we got out at 80s, and we got out at 94. So now I have higher targets, 94.33s, right where we were before, into this area, and then we have 94.80, which is the top of the morning to you right there, $95. We'll see if we can get that. Look, I don't have much else to say about Hertz other than exactly that. We talked about that $8 mark. It's why we zoomed out and looked at it earlier today. And I said that if you were getting up here and you were already long, definitely were selling something. And at the same time, if the momentum was there and you weren't long and you were thinking about it, a break of 8 probably was a decent trade as well. So just looking at what happens on that break of 8, It gets there, it does not break right there at 930. That's where we sort of identified it. And then this was a tricky spot there because it does break, but then fades back into 730, so that's a loss. And then if you go long again here at $8, you probably lose again. And then if you went long at $8, maybe on this pullback, would have been the time that you win. So it's given you a lot of opportunities to come in and make you look smart at $8, but I think I would have looked foolish because every single time it broke, it basically came right back in. So patience would have been the only way to win on this if you had the $8 break. And so for me, not very clean. I'm not sure how the boys traded it on the midday, but to me, it looks pretty choppy up here around $8. It's like a giddy up moment, but it doesn't look like yeah, okay. So it didn't look like it went too far off that level. So yeah, for me, I guess VWAP, or I'm going to probably leave it alone. I think $8, you probably don't see that. I mean, I don't know. I wonder about, Ackman and Pershing Square getting out. Up and around this level. So we'll wait to see some more news. But for right now, Hertz to me looks like we might have topped out up there around 870. That's a good short if we can get there against $9. That's what I'd be looking for. But here in the afternoon, there's going to be a lot of traders looking for trades. So this could be one that eventually does blow up to the high side, to be honest with you.
All right, guys, Google next, down marginally about 0.4%, not a big move down. But there was this headline, judge ruling today that Google is operating an illegal ad monopoly. We know that to be the case. They are facing the same thing in England as well as the EU today. It was on this side of the ocean, guys, the judge making their ruling.
Yeah, that ended up being a great buying opportunity in Google.
Yeah. That might come back.
Yeah, like it is. What are you going to do? Like it cracked 150 on that. It was it wasn't an easy bottoming tail candle, I don't think. I mean, I wasn't on it at the point. I was on Nvidia at that moment. Nvidia was at 100 when this happened, remember? Like if you're watching the morning show, this is when Nvidia was testing 100. So that's where we were. It's not even on the list. Yeah, we'll talk about that after. But obviously, it seems to me like people are ready to buy Alphabet. There's a value aspect to this. I've heard multiple analysts, you sort of hear them talking about it. It's like, oh, Alphabet is at a great value, this and that, they got levers to pull. I mean, do they need to diversify a little bit away from that search dominance? Of course, they need AI to work. Obviously, YouTube's doing really well for them. I think you get that, we talked about this before, you get the quantum play down the line for these guys. I just think it's a good space. I was even thinking about whether some of what I want to buy into Meta I don't want to also put into Alphabet this quarter. I'm not at that point yet because the plan's been the plan, and I already own twice as much Google as I do Meta. Maybe even more than that. I'd have to double check. It might be a little bit more than that. So I don't know if I'd be rushing to make that change. But yeah, it was a great buying opportunity on Alphabet. Thing is, it hasn't been able to get back to where it started and is slowing down going into it as the market's breaking out. So there's still some drag on this stock, at least for today.
Yeah, everybody. I am everybody in the chat. I'm well. Maybe we'll just to show everybody where the allegiance lies. Many of you know about Palantir, and there's the Palantir hat. So yeah, I'm well aware that Palantir is flying around here. It's going to be a big stock. Yeah, I know, a brand new one. I don't know why he calls the show. The guy has my cell, but that's a great job there, Alex. We'll talk later. Just real quickly here, we already had Google written down here at 153.50 long. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. You see Alex and everybody that's joining us for the first time, I already written this down right there, Palantir 93 long. So when Palantir came into 93, Palantir's not even on there. There's Palantir long 93 right there, right? And so whoa, what is that? There's 93 long right there. There's 92.50 long. We were trading live when this was all happening. But at the end of the day, Google is something to look at. So we'll put this back and all right, see ya. And then now we'll talk about Google. So here's what we did on Google. Again, I've only traded two names today, Palantir and Google. So, and Google's going to be a top stock for us again, just because of the way it was traded. We were just going long, off of that 153.50. We were going long off 153 again. It worked every single time until it didn't, and then we dropped it out, and then that news hit. So, this is the thing about having stop orders. Like, it fell down because of that story, but we were already out. And didn't really have a reason to go short. What we could have done was gone short 153 and got lucky on that play. Like sometimes when we write down levels and they wind up breaking, it could be the reversal. But now Trump is saying that Powell should do rate cuts. And I already said this yesterday. Powell's days are going to be numbered, and you know, so I would say his exit date, Trump appointed him, and he'll probably remove him. So we'll wait to see here whether or not he has the power to do it or not. That's never stopped Donald before. So I'm not worried about that. But at the end, I mean, I hope Powell stays, but I don't really have too much affiliation to that. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. Just heard it in my ear. But I like Google. As what Neil said, it's, you know, it's part of the portfolio. So yeah, buying more dips around 140 makes sense to me. Right there, 140.15 or so. That's the local bottom. We're not too far away. If you like Google now, like waiting for that extra little bit of bump, I mean, or I guess move down, you know, you could start probably layering into this one. But anyways, to each their own. So, all right, that's Google. UNH, oh boy.
Yeah, have a look at that, Sean. I mean, that's just straight down in a straight line. Then it, you know, it took the elevator and then it decided, no, let me get on. I'll take the escalator down. So, yeah, United Health trading lower after the company reported much worse than expected Q1 results, cutting its full year 2025 adjusted EPS guidance, basically blaming seniors for using healthcare services a bit more. So a bit of a tougher look there. It really couldn't catch a bid. But I want to bring your attention to the daily chart on this because this $450 to $440 level has been a key area of technical support. I'm sure the boys will get into it, but that is a look there. And this goes all the way back to January 2022, guys.
Well, you just showed the level on the chart. Look, if it wasn't, I said this morning. Like after the whole, after the incident shed some light to the murder of that CEO of the subsidiary, it shed some light and makes you look at the business of UNH. And look, I'll admit, like I was a buyer of this stock like multiple times in this 440 level over the last couple of years. It's just one of those like safe-ish kind of plays. Like, you know, healthcare spending is going to continue to be solid, and it just keeps bouncing. We go back and forth. It just gets 20% over and over again. Buy, sell some, buy, sell some, buy, sell some, hold it. And I ended up getting rid of it altogether on the bounce after that assassination, murder. And I don't know that I want to get back in. But if I'm just putting in, like, we'll just analyze the stock in the chart for a second. Like if it holds 440 next week, it's probably a buy. I mean, what are we doing? You know, like regardless of what you think about it, we've seen it actually bounce on things looking really bad. Yes, the guidance was poor, but if it can settle this range, I think you're probably fine. There was a bounce off 450, which that was right when we transitioned away. So like right after we ended our show, it did this gorgeous bottoming tail candle. It's hilarious because they were messaging me about it when I wasn't at my desk. And I tried it off the four, like right in here, just under the 470 level. It was like a trend break reversal. It wouldn't be like $1.20 in the money or so, but I was looking for a bigger move. But it gave you at least something. Like it didn't go it went 460 to 470. So you could have had that one for about $7 or $8. Then it went 450 and really gave you only $5 or $6 there. So really the bounce earlier was better. It just looks nasty. If you're not looking for that hole on the daily chart, I'm not sure what else you'd be doing with this stock. You know, are you panicking out of it after all of this? Or are you waiting to see if the support holds? I think you got to see if this support holds for you.
We ready? We ready for sure. Want to see how a Forex robot performs? I know I do. Without risking real money, test Forex Vim. That's Forex VIM. Risk-free in demo mode. Forex Vim. Yeah, exactly. Forex Vim is an auto trading robot that analyzes, that analyzes trends and executes trades, guess what, for you. But before you use it live, test it first in demo mode. I mean, how can you go wrong? Make sure we do this ASAP. This is free backtesting demo, lets you see how it works with historical data, adjust settings without real money, and decide if it fits your strategy before going live. So perfect for beginners or for pros who want data-backed results, the best kinds. Try the free backtesting demo now, and our link is in the description box. Go check it out. I mean, we talked about that when we had Trade Ideas on before. They have, their AI involvement in their platform as well. So this is a Forex trading specializing in gold. So you could definitely go check that out. I just say, you know what, if it's a back testing thing and you could test it out, you might as well have that quick little look.
Yeah, you don't
so,
like it.
this is something that I was just going to say, obviously you just ran through some levels of UNH. I mean, that 440 is pretty key, to hover around there and see if we can get back there, hold, and then play the bump from there. But this is the healthcare ETF. Okay, this is Spider XLV. There's gonna be many different ETFs in this space, but this is the one that I don't, something to look at. I think it's one of the more popular ones. So if you do like the healthcare in general and you don't want to take single stock risk like UNH, it's not even down today. So that's a big enough surprise to me. I don't know the exact weighting of UNH in there, nor am I promoting this ETF by any stretch. But if you are interested in it, this is another name that, hey, well off of the highs, 150 down to 136. Looking like we have some topping levels there. Goes back to 2023. So of August, I don't know, just XLV could be a play for you if you're interested in this. My go-to, one of the only, I have XBI, but I also like ABV. ABV has been one of mine that I've had for a very, very long time. It had a huge dividend before, and I never wind up selling it. This name also has gotten hit pretty good down to the downside here as well. They were Botox, so I don't know if that's still popular or whatever, but coming all the way back down into 160, 165. It had just a huge run. So even if you zoom back, this stock has come from places. So ABV all the way upside 215, all the way back down into 170. I like ABV. Look at that level right here. It's not like UNH, but this is pharmaceutical. But anyways, all right. So that's that call. Let's go look at Apple. Okay, Siri.
I like that. Shout out to my Egyptian cousin who also calls it buttocks. All right, here, guys. Apple, 2.2% in the clear. I think it's the strongest today of the Mag 7 names. On the back of this headline, looks like Timmy C, Apple CEO Tim Cook, speaking with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on the impacts of the tariffs and specifically iPhone prices as concerns mount about the cost of iPhones being made in the United States.
Turns.
Apple's
we're not worried about anything.
long today.
There was a Dave Chappelle stand-up from 2017 that's been floating around there, and he's like, I don't know what we're all worried about China for. We don't want those jobs from China. He's like, I want to wear Nikes. I don't want to make Nikes. I want to use an Apple cell phone. I don't want to make an Apple phone, and it's just like all that kind of stuff. And then we fast forward about 7 or 8 years and it looks like we're dealing with that all over again. But look, I don't.
Chappelle.
I like Apple above 200 to go long. We talked about that. It's just a little psychological thing. Same reason when we had that Tesla in and around that 250. You have Google now around 150. And it's just like we had been going long and short on Apple the last couple of days. Yesterday was the biggest trade for me by far, where we were short $8 twice. $4 there and then $4 here. Look at this move at the end of the day yesterday. Now, could this happen again today, Ramin? Maybe. From 198 all the way down to 192. There yesterday, we had this short and then we had this short. And today I haven't even looked at it, but maybe we should, because now that I see this, looky, we're right back here, right at yesterday's sort of spot where it was a great short, another short hit right there. But you could see, unless you were really trying to bottom pick today and thought about getting long, it went right back into yesterday's close. So like that 195, I was sort of struggling for what name to write down. We wrote down Google and we've made money on Google. It's fine. Feel like we would have made a little bit more on Apple. I was debating putting Apple or Google on here. I went with Google, and I think we probably should have gone with Apple. And it was just the same kind of a trade. Right back in. We opened up higher on Apple. I thought we liked the long today again, and it fell, but not at these levels. But when it fell back into yesterday's close, we probably should have bought that. So 195, a mistake for Apple. Just like how I was talking about Nvidia long at 100 and I didn't push the button. It's the same kind of a trade right there. I was in Palantir and in Google and was not willing to go into Apple, and we definitely should have done that. So right now, 198.50, it's up more than the market. This is the struggle for me in the afternoon. What do we think? Do we want to play the breakout and just let it keep on running, or do we wait for it to pull back? So for right now, because it's more aggressive than the market, I think if the market does fade, then this is one of the names we want to get long. So 50-period moving average now at 198 flat. that's a good long level for me into the afternoon against the 50. So again, missed opportunity early, but what can you do? We're sitting in a $1.70 profit right now on Palantir.
Well, I went over, I said this morning, I go, when that 100 Nvidia resolves itself, I'm going over to Apple because it's relatively strong, and I'll tell you guys why after. We resolved ourselves on the initial bounce. It was a couple of times pretty clean off of it, ran into the resistance on 101, was able to get back what we lost in the morning. I had 4 stop outs, and then 2 winning trades on Nvidia. So went 2 for 6 on Nvidia, thankfully. And the crazy thing is it didn't go all the way initially on view up. Like I got out. Like I actually had a profit take and punched out. That's why it shows like a purple. I never went short there. It was just like a crazy spike up that when it started to revert, I'm like, that was fast. Let's get out. But Apple, here's the difference. Trying to go long something is trending down, but it was the chat, and shout out to everybody in the chat. At least a few people said it, maybe not every single person. Hey, the market's going down. Apple held the low, and it put in a higher low. And so the second it regained VWAP, might have missed the first one off VWAP, wasn't at the desk, came back, it got to VWAP, scalped it a couple times, got to the high, dipped into the prior high. Thought we were getting back into VWAP the last time, it didn't. So I got to look for a higher low. Like I'm looking just slightly under the 198 now for a dip. Trend is pretty clean. It doesn't mean you're out of the woods yet. I mean, you can look at the daily chart, you know what's up. Like we've had it's more of a consolidation after our rebound than any kind of a big blowout happening in Apple to the upside. But for this afternoon, it's a dip by long, slightly under the 198 for myself. And if we break that 200, I remember how explosive that was when we broke it on that August low day. Like that was wild. A lot of buying came back into Apple, and you see the continuation was pretty impressive too. But a lot of stocks did that after August. So this afternoon, we're buying dips in Apple. Doesn't mean they're out of the water yet.
Just want to let you guys know that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent commenting not that long ago that South Korean officials are coming to the United States next week for trade talks. So some positivity there. Last on the list here, guys, Fat Pipe, FATN, another day, another move up, an aggressive move up, over 58% currently. I was just looking at this one. It was a lot higher, some 70 some odd percent. It's raising the bar with single stack network security and cybersecurity for ease of deployment at an affordable price, reports for SBMs, excuse me. Keep an eye out on this one, but it's got a gnarly looking topping tail right now, guys.
Well, it's very gnarly looking because it's halted down right now, Sharif. So Fat N down at 1433. So it went 17 to 1433. Essentially a volatility halt back in. That said, it's still up 58%. This isn't even like the prior high is like 13.9 where it broke out from recently here. So yeah, like that's how crazy these things will move, that you can halt back down and still be above the latest breakout price on the stock, which is absolutely wild. So just a reminder to everybody, if you haven't done the old zoom out on our good friend Fat N, well, where did it turn around? After things calmed down on the first day, we made tops here right around 14.5 to 15. So that's the last little push that we just faded, like kind of squeezing through it and closing underneath. If it doesn't regain 15, it might be on the back end of this back to VWAP. So that's what I would look for. Like if it doesn't get back above and holding that 15 level, the buyers don't emerge above it, then I think you can retest the volume weighted average price at some point this afternoon. I don't remember how many times it halted that first day. Like, it was a lot. It might have been like double digits. This is the first one I believe today, but now that it started halting, it wouldn't surprise me if it got cut up in multiple halts. For all this action, it's done 2.9 million shares today on Fat N. Like Hertz has done.
That's like probably more than the float, no?
It's got to be. No, but Hertz has done probably 100 million shares. Let's just double check before I'm wrong. Okay. Hertz has done 200 million shares. I mean, yeah. I knew Hertz was
200 million? No, I didn't guess. I would not have guessed that.
I knew it was a heck of a lot more than Fat N. I had no idea. 214 million shares, and my data doesn't start till 6 a.m., so it's probably a little bit more than that. So Fat N's just a little bit different when it comes to liquidity and your ability to get in and out. That's why it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a few halts in here. I just want to thank Drake Bronk for the super chat here. Love the show, and you guys stay picking great plays. couple of beers in there. Arcus FX, keep up the good work. And Trump didn't look confident in his live. I didn't see it.
Ooh.
Well, no, what? Oh, I don't know. CNN for a lot of it was covering something else. That was there was a shooting in Florida. When I looked over, they weren't really covering it very often. So, anyways, I don't know too much of the details of what happened at Florida State University, but obviously thoughts with any of the families affected there. But that's what they were covering. So I didn't even see much of it live.
Yeah, no, we hope for the best there, and you may not. Many of you may not want to live in Canada, but the last school shooting we had. Right. Okay. So I just want to bring up Newsmax real quickly. We've seen, a big move here in some of these IPO names, and it's this can happen. I don't think it's. I mean, Newsmax, had their own things there. It was hard to borrow. There was some delivery issues from what I heard about some of the shares with Newsmax there. As I talked to somebody. A little more inside about that kind of stuff. So those shares, there was a problem with the delivery, and someone on the inside knew about that, and it really ran up there. So I think there's going to be something coming out about Newsmax there, and I don't know. We'll see what winds up happening with that kind of a play. But I'm only bringing that up to show you guys about the, what's possible as far as blowouts and things like that, and don't get caught out near the top, and it's easy to say, and it's harder to do. When there's no shorts out there, all of us can sit here and be like, we think, like, even just Fat Pipe, right? Like, without knowing too much about it, it could go do the same kind of thing. CRWV, I think, is a reasonable IPO that actually didn't really have its blowout kind of moment there. I mean, we've always seen IPOs over day 2, day 3 really make those moves. And then for me, CoreWeave right back in. I think if you can get something at its IPO price, it doesn't mean that's the best price. I mean, we saw Reddit, ARM, and all that go not well below, but enough below. I think Reddit was maybe 20 or 30% below its IPO price at one point. But at the end of the day, CoreWeave has come to market and done really well. So that would be another name. And I always think about a name like Kava that I wanted to get back into that really had a huge move up as well. And now is starting to fade back just a little bit. Here for whoa, I'm gonna shut the chart down. And boom for Kava, like it really got going, then found its top, and then now it's kind of right back into an area where I remember I wanted to buy it one time on one of the earnings, like when it was like, I mean, look, this is what IPOs can do, and you're just trying to wait for it to base out. Kava might find a base here at $75, so could be something there as well, but. Okay, on to the next. What I want to say about UNH that I forgot to mention was the 3-day rule. So it's like, this is something that I try to follow a little bit, and that is that to watch out for the stock, let it settle down. The first day is obviously when you get all the traders that are in here looking to obviously get out of their position or take advantage or flatten out some of the options that they have, cover, so on and so forth. So sometimes you get a little unrealistic movement. That's probably why we gapped up a little bit at the open, where traders were maybe selling some of their puts and covering, buying them back, and then boom to the downside as it continues to go a little lower. So this is day 1, and then day 2, again, some of that same kind of action. It's funny that it happens on a Thursday. We don't have Friday trading, so weekly options expiring today instead of tomorrow. So that could be a big play here for UNH. So I'd let this thing settle down. I do think at some point, though, such a company there, no matter what you think, obviously, socially about it, I can understand not investing in it for that reason. That's fine. Everyone has a choice to put their money somewhere. Like, some people won't get into Philip Morris or anything like that for those reasons, or weed stocks or alcohol or anything like that. And that's fine. Defense stocks, they're all kind of in that same bushel there. But responsible investing, is that what they call it? There's some ETFs like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, but this name, I just think you want to let it settle down. So I didn't know if I had mentioned that. But after 3 days, you might want to see where this name is. Big red reverse middle finger to UNH today, down to 450. So yeah, that's still
opposite for Lilly.
That's still a big one. And then opposite for Eli Lilly, because Eli Lilly has good news, right? Pershing Square. So it's good thing my guy's making some money on Hertz these days. And today it looks like Nike, and I don't know what the story was there at all, but Nike today up 4% and it's just really going and continuously moving higher here. The S&P is almost up 1%, which is a little bit different than the NASDAQ. So S&P continues to climb up here. Nike strong day today off the bottom there. And again, this is like kind of the investable profile that I'm looking for, where you've gotten smoked. We bought Nike before. We actually bought Nike right here on that similar kind of a play, and then we get the good news of the new CEO and pops up, and we were able to get out. We made the same trade, exact same trade on Starbucks. And then right here, Nike now looks like it wants to base out. If things are solved in China or something gets to the upside, or Dave Chappelle has another stand-up, we may get some Nike booms right there. And just to see if it's Nike specific, let me check out what's going on with Lululemon. Remember, a lot of this, so it doesn't look the same. A lot of these stocks, Lulu's still basing out. A lot of these names, Vietnam, we saw the huge tariff on there. They tried to go to Vietnam to get away from the China talk, and that didn't work. It was working for a while, but we know that Vietnam was just kind of like a gateway for the Chinese products to get through and get around tariffs and restrictions for Chinese markets and all that kind of stuff, the embargo. But right now, Trump has closed that with Vietnam, I think, in the 100 percentile tariff. I don't know what it is exactly.
You know why else I like Nike?
I don't care trying to go back.
Right now? Like, forget about the fact that Lulu's barely up when Nike's up. Under Armour's like down today.
Yeah.
So like it's not just a little bit of extra strength that Nike's got going on. It's a lot of extra of relative strength that Nike has. And it's giving you that consolidation. Remember the other thing we're waiting for in Nike? I just realized, I hadn't looked back at this. It is now holding the higher low, officially. So you've got the bottom since earnings, and you've now successfully held the higher low, as long as, it would have to drop and close $3 or $4 down from here to not accomplish that. So I think Nike's it's a swing buy on Monday, and close on the weekly, like I said. I think it's a swing buy long on Monday, and then you just look for recovery to the 50-period moving average. Shout out to everyone in the chat that brought it up.
I was always saying when they had that quarter, I said it was a kitchen sink quarter. So I
was looking for it to finally hold. I just didn't look at it this week. Let's be real. We don't trade Nike, so sometimes you don't look at that chart. Because I remember the crazy barcode action. Come to my 15-minute for a second. I remember this barcode action all last week, and it's like, Nike's not moving off this level. It's not holding. Well, there's your higher low. All week long, we've definitely held that 52, as there hasn't been anything. Even on the worst of yesterday, you got to 53, and then the buying just comes in off of that. So I think it's a knock on wood. I've said this before, and then you come back in, and then the level gets retested, and there's no long. It's exactly what happened in that micron at the 85. I'm like, hey, looks like we're going to close above that 85. The day I would put the swing on, come back, and the market tanks, and you're in the 70s. It's like, well, so much for that. You could come back on Monday, wake up, and Nike's not there. But I promise you, this stock is at the high of the day, because there's no way anything crazy happened in the last 5 seconds. SoFi. Sometimes you say that, and it's like, okay, I knew this was no chance it had dropped. Cheated. I have the chart up somewhere else. I knew it was back at the high. SoFi is really consolidating above at this 11 level. So I like 3 things for some dip buys right now. IBIT, which this is IBIT's chart. Very linear move. So I'm looking, it's a double top right now. Ideally, you want to break the high and then pull back instead of just stalling at the same high. You want it to continue to make higher highs. If it makes a higher high, then I look for the next dip out in front of 48.50. I think SoFi is in a similar position. If it just pulls back from here, maybe look back to 10.85 to 88, somewhere in that range. Otherwise, break the high and let's go higher lows. And Apple is the other one. Same pattern. Like Apple's just in a bit of a chop fest. Would love to see it dip back into this prior support for sure. Brandon Hall, can you do a review of GME for all of us tinfoil hatters? You know what? If you were looking for one of these squeeze-type plays outside of obviously Hertz today or Fat N, you should have been in DJT if you were looking for a breakout. And I don't know what it's done since, but there was news on DJT. Remember this morning, it was pretty sure it got thrown on the watch list by Adara, and there was that little double top. Well, there's DJT. There's your 13%. Like that was the squeeze one today. You want the one that's going that has a catalyst. So yeah, GME might be up. Hey, maybe there's a chance it breaks it out. But DJT was in play. Hertz was in play. Those were the ones that you wanted to have go today. You play either one of those to the long side and you would have won. yes, GME gave you a breakout, but which one are you going to prefer? The one that goes a couple of points up. I mean, it was gapped down a little bit, but you had Hertz making dreams come true for people, and Bill Ackman included, and the same thing in DJT. This needs to break 27. It's like 27 quarter. Same high all week, no breakout yet, and it's running into resistance at that top. I don't necessarily love longs into instantaneous overhead resistance. Clear out the overhead resistance and then go. Or just dip by it and then play the long into that same top. Daily chart, not sure what you want me to say about the daily chart. It's got an interesting W pattern. I don't know. It's been oddly boring and somehow buyable off $21. I don't know why. Maybe we'll find out that someone else is getting an exemption from telling us how much they've been buying GameStop at 21. And then we'll look at it back and be like, hey, see, someone was buying it at 21. And then we find out about it like months and months later. It's got great support, and it's been support for a long time at that 21 level on GME.
I mean, they were trying to do their whole, moving over to trading cards and then Bitcoin and more of a collectibles market because, even we just got that PS5. Every single thing we have is all download. We actually have the PlayStation that I wound up getting was the no disc one. It's just storage. So there's not even a disk drive. So everything we get is downloaded, and you get good. I know I've got good deals. I thought from the PS Store too, and then plus we have that EA Play, which gives you access to their library, and it was only like $10 a month or something. Okay, so those of you, let's just go on a trade, and then I'm going to look at something else because there are a few things here, including Tesla, that I'm somewhat interested in here near the. I mean, the whole market looks like this, which is at the 50-period moving average. I was just thinking like this Palantir, why not put something up here at 90? We don't have too much left, but let's put something at 94.20. You guys are asking for some levels, and I just, we've already broken up. This is why out, these are like 20-cent outs. One at VWAP at 93.50, then we have a 93.80, then we have a 94, and then now 94.25. I still have offers up here, so if it does get there, that will be good, and we'll look to trade it through that level. But I was just talking about Tesla. I see Randy over there. Looking at some 911s, I think, over there. So we'll have to look at some Volkswagen with Porsche. All right, so I was just looking at Tesla trying to hold out above VWAP right now, but there it comes right back in. Remember what I said about afternoon trading? Look at this, all the way to the top again. You think it's breaking out, it's not. Comes back in. This is $1. This is like 80 cents worth of a range. Actually, $1 worth of a range. 240, 215, 240, 125. So just back and forth, bouncing. And then if it breaks VWAP, you're going to get out, right? Well, it does that. It breaks it, then it wicks bottom, then it pops right back up again. So this is what I mean about afternoon trading, trying to find things with news. You already nailed that SoFi. I thought that was a great level there at $11.
You brought up SoFi, not me.
Oh, no, but I mean, we just looked at it, right? And I think that it has relative news, and now it's barcoding right here. So this kind of would make sense that you try to get long, breaking through 11, and then you have a base. But for right now, it's about trying to find something. We've already done it. Hertz maybe is another one. We looked at Amazon earlier this morning as well. That's well above VWAP and looking to go again, but flat on the day, which is kind of strange. That chart makes me think it's up. And then Apple, I said, would be a good thing to try to trade if we got back into this 198. But now you've seen what's happened. We talked about 198 when it was the 50-period moving average. Now we're right at it right now. So you could go long and try to ride this thing to the upside, but at the end of the day, happy early Easter to everybody. And we're glad that you're with us here on your Thursday afternoon. I hope many of you have taken the day off work. And even better, if you're at work, I appreciate you watching this while 100%. At work. I know. I mean, it's like the NCAA. They have the NCAA, they have the March Madness, and then that's what we should do, Brendan. We need to, so if you minimize this, an Excel spreadsheet comes up. So it looks like you're actually working on something. So your boss can be like, you weren't watching Trader TV Live, were you? The hottest live event on YouTube, were you? And you'd be like, no, I was working on this Excel spreadsheet.
My wife's old, I can say this because she doesn't work there anymore. The company she worked for before, they weren't allowed to watch things like YouTube.
Right.
And there was somebody there, I mean, I'm not saying, okay, I don't even know his name, but somebody there would watch our show. And I remember meeting at the party, office party, what do they call it, the holiday party, Christmas party, whatever the heck they call it these days. No one wants to call it a Christmas party.
The guy wrote something
yeah,
funny. Like, what is that on there? It's like a stick man?
Yeah, it's a stick man. Don't they? What about your name? Why they don't do names anymore?
I mean, my name is on this sticker here.
They're supposed to write something on the cup. Ramin says.
What do you mean? I thought they always put something. Sometimes they write good morning or. It's a law.
What do you mean it's a law?
I am the law.
So hold on a second. Ramin in our ear is saying that it's the law at Starbucks that they're supposed to write something on your cup.
Yeah. Trump signed an executive order. Trump signed an executive order for that.
Regulation.
He said any order at Starbucks needs to.
Wow.
Over to Adara then.
So for the record, I think I know what Ramin might be talking about. I know that new CEO Brian Niccol, formerly of Chipotle, did want there to be more writing on the cups. In fact, he said he'd order 200,000 Sharpies to make sure every Starbucks had a Sharpie so that people could write on the cup. So with that in mind, I just wanted to give some credit to what Ramin was saying there. This is actually, there is some basis for this. But let's also talk here about our brand new earnings and events calendar for next week, April 21st to 25th. I know it is a holiday shortened week. We have a long weekend. So why not prepare for the week ahead with this infographic? And man, do we have a week for you. All three major telecom companies are reporting. Boeing's reporting. We've got earnings from Alphabet and Tesla. We have earnings from names like AbbVie, a lot of airlines, Chipotle, which is just mentioned here. So check this out on X at TTV Research for all of your market research needs. Back to you.
Ooh la la! You might have heard me in the background there. I was like, ooh! When Adara's spitting out that kind of stuff, I am very, very excited because I think that gives us. You want to talk about SoFi quickly? Because I want to look at that calendar with you.
Well, let's go back to the calendar. Like SoFi's running the highs. I think buying the bottom of that dip is going to make some sense in SoFi. This consolidation you're seeing. You guys can all see the bull flag, but it's a big old week. Big week of earnings.
Yeah.
The question is.
I mean, look at you can't even see all these companies up in
stacked.
There's IBM.
Which one matters the most to you next week? To you personally, and then which one do you think matters to the market the most?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, at a quick glance, the only thing I see here is Alphabet. Like, I'm just trying to look at my own market, my own book here, and talking about Alphabet. And I've recently bought Intel right here, not recently, a couple months ago, and didn't get out. So Intel would be of my concern right there. But then I do see this little guy right here, and that's Tesla. Coming Tuesday night. So I think as far as the market and our show is, there's news on Palantir. Which is I don't know, but Palantir.
No, everything's dropping.
Okay, the market is going nuts right now.
Yeah, everything's dropping. We
just got a nice fill on Palantir. Look, come over to the chart. This is why you sit there on that. Now, I don't know what's going on right now, but I just saw the market making a little bit of a dip. I had Apple up on the, we will go back to that, by the way. I did have Apple up on another side. I thought, yeah, look at that. Apple just went down $1. That's real. I have Apple up. I was watching it. So somebody just wicked this to the downside. Like, I don't know if Benzinga's in my ear or not, but I don't hear anything.
I'm gonna restart.
Let me just go to Google right now because I think that flashed as well. These are all real wicks. So this is what I'm saying about stop orders. It's actually a double-edged sword because, like, if I was in Palantir and I had to stop at the 50-period moving average, I'd be pissed. Well, I mean, I'd be fine, but I'd be disappointed if I had that because you get stopped out, and that can happen to you at any time. But there it goes. There, like this is an algo-driven market, man. I mean, when you're getting moves like that almost right away, you got to be careful. So, like that Apple move,
mini flash crash.
I think was real. Yeah, I mean,
no, they call it micro flash crash because essentially all that happens is the algos pull their bid on for whatever reason across the board. It's like a little bit hits the bid, and then something for some reason they just don't make a market anywhere. It drops a lot. Sometimes you get a good fill, sometimes you get a bad one. That's like, it's real on Apple. We're getting a little bit of continuation on Apple. So, I mean, I had just said I'm buying the bottom end of that range on SoFi like 2 seconds ago. And then
it's so dirty.
And then all of a sudden it's like it happens and then, okay, we're in the long now. The bottom end of the range is 95. Like, what are you going to do? Clearly something different has just changed potentially in the market. So I was already on the bid. I just said it 2 seconds before. So if we do break underneath that prior support, I don't mind just getting out here. Even Hertz was looking like it was gonna. Yeah, Hertz was trying to bounce VWAP. It looks a little distinctly different now. Let's see it try to calm down and close over. You want things to calm down before you go into another play. Position board just went, but you guys all just saw. I had gotten out, like Apple was the last thing I was in the long side.
Upgrading the position.
But all I did is jump back into SoFi. If Apple had gone to VWAP, for sure we would have bought it. but it didn't actually even fall that far on Apple. Let's go to Adair, see if we have an update.
It's unclear at this point if this is what moved the market here, but I think it is worth noting. Wall Street Journal reporting that apparently Donald Trump has been privately talking about firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell for months. However, apparently, we heard earlier that Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, has been trying to moderate him. He advised against firing Powell, but also Kevin Warsh, who is a former Fed governor, who was at one point in talks to actually take Bessent's job before he was hired. Kevin Warsh also telling Trump not to hire or not to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So again here, market on watch here, as apparently Donald Trump has been talking about potentially firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell for much longer than he's been making these claims publicly, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been
Par for the course.
Yeah, I've been sort of talking about that for a long time.
Until it actually happens.
Until it actually happens next week, then you'll wait.
What actually gets more interesting is who ends up being on the short nomination list, right? You know, we get a hawk. I haven't heard any names bandied about yet, but I guess maybe it's too early for that.
Donald Trump Jr.? Like, I mean, it doesn't. Honestly, it is so irrelevant at this point. Trump is in charge of the whole market, and that is what it is.
They have more power in the appointment because they don't choose, but they get to. All you have to do is, if you really like somebody, choose a couple of other people that have no chance to go up against, and then you have the power to see who the next chair is.
I just heard somebody looking to replace him with someone from Wall Street. I mean, they're all really from Wall Street, but a potential replacement, Kevin Warsh. Right. Okay. So Kevin Warsh, W-A-R-S-H. W-A-R-S-H. Everyone that's in here is like, Trump doesn't have the power to do that. It doesn't matter. I don't know if, I'm not sure if that actually matters. He'll fire Powell, get him out of there. Then Powell can go to court and try to get that all settled out. And trust me, like, we've all seen Donald Trump in court, and we've all seen what's wound up with that. Things much obviously different and more severe than what this would be. He's either gotten away with or won those trials or whatever, or swept under the rug. All of that kind of stuff is real nice, especially when you can pardon yourself. Adara, is that more news?
I think so.
All right, let's go.
So I just want to clarify Sean, what you just said there is not incorrect. Wall Street Journal is reporting that Kevin Warsh could be a potential replacement for Powell. But the big thing here, which I mentioned earlier, is that apparently Kevin Warsh has been telling Donald Trump not to fire Powell in the first place. So Kevin Warsh here, former Fed governor, apparently both Trump's #1 choice to replace Powell and also the person telling Trump not to fire him. So a little interesting position here for Warsh. That might be a name we hear a little bit more of going forward if indeed Donald Trump A, succeeds in firing Powell, and then B, replaces him with Kevin Warsh. But it gets also worth noting, basically, Fed Chair Powell said multiple times he's not stepping down. Trump said today during his bilateral meeting with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy, he said that Powell will step down if Trump tells him to. Back to you.
Exactly. And also, this Warsh guy, he's just talking like, you know, don't fire my friend Jerome Powell.
He has to. He's a former member.
Come on, man.
He's a former member who's going to be working with the same people.
Man.
That's what you would always say. Come on, that's how the corporate game works.
Exactly.
I mean, like, not that we're in the corporate game, but we know people that are in that.
No one's more
game.
corporate than Neil Roberts.
God, no. But you know what, everybody? Hey, look, let's slow it down. If you want some top-tier odds and total control, I'm telling you, ProfitX brings you peer-to-peer picking, open API access for automation, and cost-efficient trading. Yeah, that's right, trading in the sports betting game, all in one place. It's like day trading your favorite sports. You bids, offers, swipe the book, match plays, manage risk with a diverse set of prediction options. Don't just place your picks, trade and exchange them, hedge them, anything you want. ProfitX, it's a smarter and faster way to play. Use that code TRADERTV and get a sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. NFL draft is coming up. Obviously, NBA playoffs are in play. Go Leafs go. The NHL playoffs, for anyone that's into it, we want the Leafs to win. But yeah, great. And the other thing is, when you look at the odds, we've done this before live, and everyone's seen us do this. You can just go and check the spreads. You've been seeing some, especially in the NCAA tournament, you saw a lot of really favorable lines over at ProfitX and the ability to sort of hedge off of those as well. So look, it's fantastic. Scan the QR code you see in front of you. Check the link in the description. For sure, I cannot wait till the NFL draft because I think there's some interesting opportunities. especially, I want some more lines to come up for like the quarterbacks going in the first round. That 5th-year option, there's a couple of second round, third round quarterbacks, and one of them is going to slip into the first round because the team's just going to want that 3rd-year option or 5th-year option. And I really hope that my Buffalo Bills take advantage of that and have somebody, either we trade up because we got a bunch of picks, or we let some fool trade up like 5 picks from the early second round to come up to us, take quarterback. We get some more draft capital, trade back, use that capital to get a future first. That's the kind of stuff I get into. Go Bills.
Yeah, it's interesting because picks are so valued in the NFL. Like, to grab a second or a third in some leagues, maybe not that important, but in the NFL, definitely you can rebuild your whole franchise with one draft, basically. It's like, I forget.
Or blow.
Oh, was it the Browns or who had Deshaun Watson? Was Houston. Oh. If you check like who they got from that trade alone, it was like, it's crazy. They had Nico, all these guys from that draft alone, Stroud, all this stuff. And it's like, and then now Deshaun Watson will probably never play again in the NFL. So yeah, you know, you got to be careful.
You know the sad thing?
What's that?
If he comes healthy, someone will give him.
Someone will probably give him a shot. Yeah, I mean, that's a thing in the NFL, right? I mean, Joe Flacco, I think 43 years old, just signed a $4 million deal somewhere. I can't remember where it was. You're never too old to play a quarterback, especially if you can stop those turnovers. Okay, so someone in the chat was saying this market's untradeable. Agreed. When you're doing stuff like this, shout out to NYC Urbanista as well in the chat there with some good points. Look, I mean, it's when you're seeing like things like that happen, and I saw some people say they got stopped out of their futures trade on that move down, and I mean, you would have got stopped out of many different things, and this is now like with all this talk back and forth, I don't think the market's going to move too dramatically, and I don't know, to people's points, like it's not like this is Apprentice or anything like that. The guy can just go, "You're fired." You know, like, I don't know if that's what could happen there. Like, there's going to be probably some sort of a due process. So it could be something that, you know, lasts a little while. But, like, what do we actually think if Trump all of a sudden right now truths out, you know, this is Jerome Powell's last day in charge? Like, that is something that could come out of his mouth at any time. What does that do for the market? Are you willing to be in position when something like that comes out? Now, you know, you don't want to trade scared. I think scared money is not the right way to trade. You still want to get your money in when you think it's right. But the point about all of this is just stop orders and make sure that, you know, you are trading properly at this time with those orders out. And then also to the other side, like if you're short right now or long, put orders out. You never know where you're going to get filled. And I mean, we've had some examples of that even today on some stock where it's like, what the, I just got that fill, you know? And, you know, you want to look out for that. So I just wanted to say Intel back up to $19 looks somewhat interesting. Underneath the 50-period moving average, gave us that local high, looking to fade back out. I'm going to enter a new position right now. And it's going to be Intel. We'll see if right away there, get some dark pools action and there it is. Well, now we got the full fill on Intel as it blasts through. Well, it doesn't blast through, but we got our fills there. ARCAs is going to be Ps. Zeds are going to be bats. So I'm just going to start a trade here. This is not something that, you know, we're going to necessarily die on here. But if you look, Dylon.
And Dylon.
If anybody knows where that's from. Maybe we'll just do like a whole Chappelle thing. Was it 4 Dylons or 5 Dylons?
The 5 greatest rappers of all time.
Oh, it's the 5 greatest rappers. Okay, the Dylons, all 5. But right there, 1905, the 905 area code. I saw Sharif do something with that yesterday. Right into there. I think this will be my next area. We'll average in around the 50 period, which is exactly at 19. So we'll get a 19, then we'll get a 1905. Then I'm using 1910 as our stop, which is that wick right there. So we'll see if we can do this right here. Again, so why am I in this? All right, so if we go short, our average price on probably 2 or 3 unit trade, I think it's worth it because we're not going to get stopped out too hard here. And if we do, it will be a loss of that 10 cents or so. I think there's a chance we can get 10 cents on this for sure. This VWAP is 85. 200 periods, 88. That's 10 cents right there. If the market does lose steam here heading into, guess what, a long weekend, where anything is possible, I do feel like the market would be a better short than long at this point, especially if we do stay under VWAP for four or 5 minutes here heading into the last half hour. So we're going to go shorter on Intel as it approaches 19. So we'll put some, let's go to 18.99. We'll sit there, and then that'll give us an average price of 97.5. Yep, that math works. Then we'll have an average price of 97.5. Then we'll take 19.05 for double that amount of shares, because we'll have 1 unit by the time we get through 19. We'll have 1 unit. We'll put on 2 units, and then we'll wait to see what winds up happening there at 19.10. So again, we'll wait to see, but that's the kind of positioning that I'm going to try to do here on Intel. It's red on the day. The NASDAQ is up, but trending down. And Nvidia, the only trade that I liked earlier, and I know Neil was on this as well, down here at 100. So as you can see, this actually looks almost just as good if you liked it, but you got to give this one $1 up to that 102.50. So Intel priming out a little bit better for me on the risk to reward than Nvidia. So right now we're short Intel, and it's first looker. We were able to get that out on Palantir. So unfortunately, I have everyone to tell you, we're at that 2.5% again right now on Palantir. I may just exit this trade if it breaks VWAP. So there it is. It's your hour of power, baby. I love that we have these things scheduled. So that's perfect. Thank you, Fabian and Ramin, for that. Breaking through 93.50 there on Palantir. Ciao on that one as, you know, Italians celebrate Easter. We're going to have a good Easter, obviously, this year.
Yes.
And
you guys do a hunt, right?
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it with my parents, and that should be fun. We'll see my brother and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, it should be fun times. We're just packed. We have, like I said, there's 4 baseball events. So I actually talked to Marissa. I have to phone my mother tonight because our Sunday is completely full already. So I don't even know what we're gonna do, and it's only Thursday.
That's how it is, man. I told you, the guy I'm going to surprise before doesn't watch the show ever. I know he works in IT. They don't watch YouTube there. So we're having a fun weekend, but tomorrow we get to get stuff done. If we have nothing on the docket tomorrow,
nice.
there's like an entire, there's a lot of stuff I need to get done. I need to get my winners off. There's like an entire
might not be
crap in the basement that I got to be able to handle. But I have a feeling there's going to be a little
crack.
bit of,
Did you say?
No, crap in this one room that we got to clean up. We redid my daughter's.
I thought you had some foundation problem.
No, we redid our daughter's room, and then a bunch of old stuff got thrown in a spare room, and I got to organize it all.
Come to my house after.
Stuff like it's just if you don't do it, it's out of hand. Quickly here, SMCI, which I thought I paid for locates this morning. I'm going to go and rectify that now.
Rectification.
There we go. I always forget that you have to double authenticate. Say yes, then you say yes again to pay for the locates. It just broke the trend line and looks like we might have missed our chance here, but I didn't have the locates. There's your 1, 2, 3, break the trend. I want 31.5. Like a mean revert in the afternoon if we can get it. It's unfortunate on SoFi, but the exact moment that I'm like, yeah, let's take the bull flag long and play it into the high, that was the moment the market made that move, and I had already gotten filled. You saw, Apple did that wig down, and I was long SoFi. I couldn't even cancel the order. It just kind of came in. But my stop was underneath this prior red bar. The second it broke, I just got out. I'll wait for VWAP, and we still like VWAP on SoFi. I still like VWAP on Apple as well. So just watching both those names. Apple might get to the volume-weighted average price relatively quickly. But it was gold the first time through. Didn't get there the second. If we get there the third, I'm all over it.
So there's just an example. I mean, I think we're doing exactly what we're talking about, a quick little, it's small loss, obviously, there on SoFi. And it's the same thing with Intel right here. We're 5 cents in the money. I just took a piece out at 91, literally 5% out at 91. I do have another bid for 10% at 88, and another 5% at 90. So I'm just going to try to top it up here as we go. But Intel, it's no one, I don't think you called for Adair, but I just saw her flip over. So, okay, let's go over to Adair.
More?
Up here in the NASDAQ. Now we have more comments here coming from Charles Gasparino, who is a Fox business contributor. He's basically commenting on this talk or these reports here from the Wall Street Journal suggesting that Kevin Warsh, who is a former Fed official, has advised Donald Trump against firing Fed Chair Jerome Powell. There is also some talk here suggesting that Kevin Warsh would replace Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Well, Charles Gasparino actually saying this is interesting because apparently Kevin Warsh was a very, very outspoken critic of Fed Chair Jerome Powell, specifically with regards to his actions during 2021 and 2022. So Charles Gasparino's take on this is that Kevin Warsh is concerned about how the firing of Powell could impact the markets, specifically the bond market. So Charles Gasparino apparently going to talk about this developing story, but regardless, basically saying there's a little bit more context that could be key with regards to reports that Kevin Warsh does not want Trump to fire Powell. Back to you.
Worry about the bond.
But like, no one's ever heard of Kevin Warsh before, and now he's going to be your next Fed chair. So we'll see. Congratulations to Mr. Kevin Warsh. Yeah. Just real quickly, it's not been announced yet, but it's obviously it seems inevitable. But remember, this is just Gasparino. Like, it's Fox. It's
sometimes they float these things.
Yeah, exactly. We got taken out there of Palantir of our last 2% there. It's not going to affect my net because it was such a small amount, but it did. It's costing me 30 cents because there's the stop out there, and the move was heading below VWAP. Piper was asking me why I was still in. It's funny, like almost as soon as you asked me that, and we had talked about getting our stop at VWAP, so that's exactly what winds up happening. VWAP's 57. We played a 50 break. We actually got 50. We got 49s or. Like it was like dark pool run, so 49.8, something like that. Happy to be out of it, to be honest with you. Not happy to be out of it. We'd rather be in it if it was going back upside. But now we can. Sometimes when I get out of a position, it just resets the old noggin here, and then we can start looking for some better trades. And temporarily we found one with Intel, but that stopped at the 200 period. Basically, like it gave us our fill, and then was just like nope. Right there back up to the upside. So it looks like that's 91 cents. So we just went 96 to 91. Like it's not 5 cents is not very much, but if you just go all the way back to 130, like it's basically hasn't really even moved 5 cents. So that was a pretty good play to happen in 3 minutes for us on that play. So I think we're okay with that. And then remember what my rhetoric was? You could go short the futures right now. My only problem is on a spike news story, you're going to get run for sure. So I think for the futures, either you have a real quick stop at VWAP, which is fine. I think that's fine. Or you have to either take a little bit less and see where the real stop out is going to be, because just like that, I don't know. And that's why I was asking Neil the question, or everybody the question, if that announcement does come on True Social about, it doesn't have to be Trump saying Powell's.
How do we even feel about
Powell's done? It's just a matter of like, okay, he could say, I do not like the job that he's doing. He's sort of already made that public and looking to replace him, something like that. Like, what does the market do? Interesting talk there about the bond.
Well, I think doesn't it imply to us that we're getting some, rate cuts and.
I thought it was supposed to be 4
sooner
this coming year.
Oh.
So I don't. We looked at it was almost certain in May, so that's the next one. Then there was May. Then there was September, October, November, I believe, or no, August, September, October, 3 in a row. I think Sharif was telling Jerome to take some time off from that. But remember, his last appointed date is May 26th, like May of 26. So even if Trump does nothing at all, it's only 1 more year, anyways, for Jerome Powell. So I almost think that this Warsh dude is probably right in saying that let's maybe get through this part, and then we'll figure out what to do come a year from now, 8 months from now, or whatever, when the story starts heating up again. So I don't know. We'll talk about the events calendar. For right now, Adara has more.
Not news, but you were just talking about rate cuts, so I thought it'd be interesting to actually look at how the CME FedWatch tool has changed. Now, we all know generally how the CME FedWatch tool works, but one of my favorite aspects of this tool is actually another thing I'm going to show you guys right here, if we can just look at my screen. So as of right now, 92.4% of participants are expecting we're not going to get a cut. If we just see my screen for a second, sorry. 92.4% of participants there are expecting we're not going to get any rate changes coming through at the May meeting on May 7th. 7.6% of participants expecting a 25 basis point cut. But here's the more interesting part. You can actually look here. If you see the bottom of this part of my screen, you can see how these have changed over certain periods. So 1 month ago, 21.9% of participants were expecting a 25 basis point cut. The number actually moved up to 27% a week ago. As of 1 day ago, 14.7%, now 7.6%. You can really see the extent to which these odds of a 25 basis point cut have really narrowed over the last number of days. You can also look to see here what the June odds right now are. They've basically stayed the same. Overwhelming majority expecting a 25 basis point cut at the June meeting. Back to you.
There you go.
So yeah,
I
maybe
suspect
no cut after all.
I suspect if you get an announcement that Powell is out, that those odds will jump. You can make an argument. I think you can make an argument both ways about how that would go. I would tend to think you move forward some of the cuts, at least a little bit. Like the odds, I should say, you move forward the odds of some of the cuts if Powell's going out sooner rather than later. We'll see. Apple doesn't seem to want to get to VWAP. SMCI there broke the trend line. I want to redraw it. There you go, broke the trend line. So if it breaks prior bar high, I want to jump out. That is going to be 31.5, but I don't like even dollar levels or half dollar levels, sort of that obvious. So just a few shekels above that is where I put the stop to sort of make it obvious. And if it gets down to VWAP, start taking it out. You want 31s, I think, in here because that was a good support level. And if we do get down there, I suspect Apple's going to challenge VWAP as well. So like the ES, usually I look at the NASDAQ, but the NASDAQ has broken the volume weighted average price. The ES is at it. So Apple is relatively strong at this point. So if we do get a push through, then you've got at least some relative strength to buy the dip in Apple. I was checking in on, IBIT doesn't look as good anymore for the long. It looks like it might be on the other side of the trade as well. So just waiting for the VWAP here on Apple. That'll be about 196.5. Call it that. So if we get down underneath 197, you're on alert for a dip buy in one of the stronger names out here today. Apple, good, been a long trend. That's the one thing I like about this, is it's really held that trend line. Part of me is asking myself, should I just be in it here? Because I like trend lines, and I was eyeballing it. Yeah, that's kind of right. This is a day-long trend at 197.25 on Apple.
No, I put the wrong stop on Intel. So it looks like I meant to put 1910 for Apple or for Intel, and I punched out. So I just got back in it. I got back in at the exact same price. I just punched 96. Dave hates, where do we bet on the odds of Powell getting fired? Well, thank you, my friend. I have this website up all the time. And I was looking at it for our Canadian right there. Our next prime minister is 77% chance that it's Mark Carney. So that's a wrap. That's only 11 days until election. So it's right here. I just saw it. Will Trump remove Jerome Powell in 2025? So right now, there's a 20% chance of yes. So if we click on that, let's go. Right now, so yes, so 21 cents. So it's a little bit higher than where that number is. So yeah, that's what we're looking at right now for that kind of an odds. 21 cents, yes. So that means 81 cents, no. So I don't have an account, but that's what it's going. And you could see just now, a little bit of a spike up right there. So back in January, I guess it was a little bit higher than where we are now. But as you can see right here, and this is Polymarket. There's also Kalshi that goes in, but you can see it's $300,000 so far bet on this. So I don't know, when does this expire? It says 2025. So I guess December 31st, I don't know, they would settle this bet. So you have time value of money and all that. But anyways, at the end of the day, it looks like there's a 20% chance right now that the betting market thinks Jerome Powell is gone. And that's just jumped 5% here today. So, or not 5%, actually, what am I talking about? It went from 15 cents, 15% to 20%. So that's a 30% jump. 5% up there on 15.
5 like notional. Well, 5. Yeah,
30%.
Points, but 30%.
Right.
You were right the first
Okay, so there it goes. All right, we were talking about next week. Oh, yeah, so before I show, just with all that confusion there, so this is what happened. My stop order, I had no reason to get out right there. Actually, in fact, we were supposed to get more short in and around that area, but we just punched right back in as soon as we got stopped out. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody saw that. I made some keystroke errors there. So actually, I don't have a stop out. So let's do this together. So 19, hopefully this does not punch me out, 12s. We don't go to 1910. I'll show you why 1910. It was the high from this morning. If I zoom back out, I'll show you why I'm picking that right here. That's 1910. So I'm going to use 1912 as a stop, and then I go like that, and 100%. Now this will throw out an ARCA flattening key, which also hits all the dark pools. So I don't have to do anything. My hands are off, and we're back in a reloaded position, full position. Actually, we have now 1.5 units on this, because I did take some more at 98. So average price 96.30. We got out of a little bit, more in at 98. So that's it. That's what happened for Intel. But You know what? Now that's going back down. Let me just put another bid at 91 real quick time here. Let's get out of 10% this time instead of 5, all right? Yeah, so next week, we just talked about this. Forget about data coming through on earnings. Let's look at the economic data because maybe there's something next week that really gets us going. 10 o'clock, Fed manufacturing from Richmond on Tuesday. It's not really a big one. Forget about all this speak for Fed. I mean, we'll talk about that on the day of. You can't really plan for that kind of stuff. Services PMI, so that's nice. We saw, but the inflation numbers really didn't move the market last week, so not too sure it would next week, but there it is at 9:45. We do have PMI coming through. New home sales could be interesting on Wednesday to see where that gets going. Okay, so new and then existing, so a couple housing numbers there coming through on Wednesday, Thursday. Look at whatever, DH Horton or Lennar, something like that. And then, I don't know, Friday, I don't know, Michigan sentiment there, so not much going on.
We've been getting good numbers, man. The jobs data's been good. The inflation data's been good. I mean, we'll see what happens on Thursday when you get that jobs number. Like, what's crazy about it, I said this morning, like, do we finally, because we had another good number this morning, do we finally go green and hold it when we have good economic data? Well, the NASDAQ's now red. The ES is still green, at least. The Dow... And we'll forget about the Dow. The Dow is just different today because of UNH. That's the problem with the whole problem with the price weighting of the Dow. Like, what are you going to do? UNH is the biggest one for obviously not fundamental reasons, and they got destroyed today, so the Dow is going to struggle. I just saw in the chat someone mentioning, hey, do you like Uber breaking the trend line? A lot of things just broke the trend because the futures just broke the trend. Yeah, it's a good setup. It's all hindsight now because I wasn't looking at Uber, but the fact that it did a topping tail candle when it tried to retake the trend line under, that made that entry even better, I suppose. But if you took it on the original trend break, you might, for me, like that would have been stopped out and then jumping back in. So I'd be like 0 for 1 and then getting it again. And yes, it does look better just to the naked eye than SMCIs. Right, like that one to me is a little bit cleaner. Why? Because when it breaks the trend, you just get a much better entry. Here it's dropped a bunch and then consolidated and already fallen pretty far. So Uber, I didn't see it. Got one out in front of SMCI. Tried, see here, like bounced off support. I tried to get more in the 40s. I didn't get filled. I'll leave it in there. If we pop up, get that filled in underneath the 40s. Still have the stop just over 50. Let's see if we can pop down into the volume weighted average price. Instead, the ES just went down. Or the NQ just went red, the ES trying to follow suit. Some strength in the SPY. Top of my head, I'm trying to figure out.
I should just short the.
You know what? No. Okay, never mind. The SPY just blasted through VWAP. One of my other charts apparently has a bad VWAP over there. The SPY is way through VWAP. Forget that. Not even close. Yeah, the market's just flushing here. It's like a hold on to your shorts, maybe short the pops. Find something that is maybe lagging that hasn't gone. Break down that maybe you can add into.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. We've done so much damage with the futures, and this broke underneath VWAP, and I picked Intel. Disappointed in myself there. There goes the market to the downside. Congratulations, anybody that took that. Anyways, glad we talked about it. And I was like, do we really want to hold anything into the long weekend? We had the power hour. We had some negative talk there in the market about Powell and Trump and just upsetting. I don't know. Anyways, I'm only bringing this up because you're right back into lows that we've been here for a couple hours. Like if it drops down there, you're like, yeah, we got the short, but if you don't cover, yeah, we got the short, but if you don't cover, yeah, we got the short, but so might be time. Do a little bit of covering. We did get something there. We got some 92s on Intel. What else you guys want to look at right there? Neil's got SMCI on board. All right, Boeing. Oh, tonight. All right, what kind of numbers we have going on for Netflix tonight? So what we're looking at for Netflix tonight is an EPS of $5.69 right now. That doesn't mean anything to me either. Revenue estimates $10.5 billion. So we'll pay attention for when Adara, we get these numbers. Adara will parse through them. When we do get these, an expected release right away at 4 o'clock. If I remember correctly, I do believe that 4 o'clock is almost bang for Netflix. they'll be out there just right away. And the implied move is 8.5, and let's call it 9%. Its last move was 10%. So if we do get a 10% move here on Netflix, which is expected, that's a hundy. So $100 is the expected implied move based on options. So first of all, Palantir is back to that level we punched out at 93.50, so that's pretty good right there. But if you get $100 on this, then you're breaking all-time highs, which is up there. So do you think that's going to happen? Or you can get the 10% move to the downside, which puts us right where we were at 7 days ago. So I think it's most likely to make a move lower, but I mean, off earnings, it's earnings. Like if they blow out both these numbers, 569 and 1054, so 10 billion revenue estimate for the quarter, $10 billion, 54 cents.
I just remember that the last few times, it seems like it'll gap and go and then be really boring the next day.
Right.
Like whatever, it ends up Netflix ends up range bound after earnings, after a big move. Like you're just always disappointed in the follow-up on the upside anyways. Like I'm looking at all the big crazy up days that it's had. Just like, oh, okay, well here's one. And then just no follow through whatsoever. Like you get like big event days. Like anytime it has a big blowout to the upside, the following day is a disappointing day. Either a red day or a consolidation day, whatever it might be. So it's, because it's 1,000, it's not like it's overly tradable in the first place. Eventually, they're going to split. I'm sort of done with predicting it'll happen every single time because it'll happen when it happens. They're going to do it. It's just a matter of whenever they figure out it's important enough for them to do it. But everyone's been doing this last year, getting their splits done. So getting a little bit of bounce in the future, like the NASDAQ just seems to want to, just barcode back and forth, a couple like 0.02 down. So you're holding a prior support level, just kind of needling around, waiting to make another move. So either you break support or we just go back range bound and short the local high. In anything that you like. So if you took a trend trade on Uber, I think that one actually looks even better, but I'm not in it. And, Hertz. So the market, you can see the market just pulling back. Hertz, double barrel action off VWAP. So this is holding. We only have about 40 minutes to go, but it doesn't take much for a stock like this to maybe squeeze into the highs. So if you're looking for something that can get going long, I know the volume isn't what it was earlier, but it's at least holding up solid volume, and especially the fact that it didn't break VWAP and bounce higher with the market going down, that tells you there's at least some buying that doesn't care about what the market is doing. Yeah, market's starting to come down in here. We'll see if this can bounce off VWAP. That's about the only place I'd be looking for a long that isn't potentially Apple off VWAP. But I want this SMCI breaking VWAP, and I want 31s in here. Even dollar had support all afternoon. Midday.
All right, I'm going to bid some 90. Okay, there we go. I was going to say I'm going to bid some 92s. We just get some 92s there on Intel because, like, the futures are starting to bleed to the downside. So I'm a little disappointed in myself for not having that trade and picking Intel because Intel's not doing anything. Intel schmintel. Nvidia, we remember I was like, we could go with Nvidia, but I didn't think the risk to reward was very good. But yeah, underneath VWAP, boom, to the downside right there for Nvidia. I don't know what to tell you guys about that. Should have been on that. I mean, look, if this gets to $100 again, then I'm buying it this time. I mean, we talked about it over and over again and didn't pull said trigger right there, and we should have before. So $100 flat, something to be talk about right there. So if that comes back in, fine. But see, like, make him say, we don't get a long week. We do not get VWAP. We don't get VWAP. What are you even talking about? The 200 period is 3 bounce offs right there. So these shorts are fine. We're covering at these levels and waiting to get more on that move down. All right. What about Micron? We haven't looked at Micron in a minute. Let me have a quick look there and see. Okay, so I was just getting, again, a warning from an e-signal telling me that Micron is at a moving average, and that moving average is VWAP right there. So it's come right back in 2 VWAP, which is volume weighted average price. So it's not necessarily an SMA or EMA like that to that extent, but it's now, again, look at that move down, look at that move up. Again, not doing much. Just want to have a quick look at Micron down 1.4% right here as well. And yeah, man, Intel can't hold a bid. So, or can't hold an ask. It just hits the bid, rips back up. So right here, finally, just for some of you, that's not going to matter. It's already 65 million shares. But somebody right now, at the end of the day, has to push. You know what? We can average into it right now. Someone right here has to push a button that takes down 20,000 shares, or 200,000 shares, sorry, of Intel. So we just got short there on BAT Y, added into the position. We got more of what we covered there. Remember, I'm still waiting at 1905 to double this position and give us 2 units. So hopefully that will wind up happening again. But we'll take a shot here and see if someone has enough money right now to say, I'll take that out. And if they do, then fine. Maybe it does go up to that 1905, and then we'll have a quick look. And hey, man, if we get stopped out, yeah, it is kind of doing something right now, but we'll wait to see. But I just want to show everybody that, and just kind of lucky I went over there and saw that. So there it is. There's the average in. So temporary, good idea. There's $2 free. So again, if you're trading on our platform there, I could have just took 5,000 shares right there, 10,000 shares, whatever, and right there it's $2. I wish. 2 pennies. So 5,000 shares, 2 pennies, that's a hundy right there, if that's a trade that you're looking for. And we do have the abilities to do all that kind of stuff. Why? See, what's going on here? Those are all D prints at 95. Those are late reported. You cannot print right now.
Of course, yeah.
You cannot print 95s right now. So that is either we need to send this to the SEC, or those are delayed prints, which I'm sure they are, because you cannot print through the bid. All right. Now
Not
that
that's yeah.
Not that we took 10,000 shares, we did not.
The U.S. market's actually very good about no trade throughs.
Yeah, well, it's illegal. I mean,
no, relative to the Toronto market, I would say.
Oh, relative to, yeah, but again, different rules. I feel like they have, that's a rule. You cannot trade through. So if ARCA or anybody was trading through, then their system is broken. It's not, okay, give me those 96s right now, Intel. Did we get them? Yes, we did. So there it goes again. Just a quick little scalp. I know that's my average price was still 97. I'm just trying to take out a little bit there, see if we can get this move back a little bit lower now. Trust me, I'm not sitting on the bid with very many shares. If we can, okay, they're probably going to take that guy out at 99 at some point here. So watch. Bang, one shot, one time.
MEMX too. Right?
Anyways, yeah. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm covering a little bit there. We know the trade on Intel. I'm not just going to keep harping on it.
A lot of day traders use that gateway, which is why you're not seeing a 200,000 share order on MEMX is a little different for Intel, because it's a lot of day traders. I expect like 10,000s and that kind of thing on that stock. Just one quick thing. I did reload on SMCI, kind of the same range trade, but Walmart's got an early 2 million sell imbalance on it, which we haven't seen it all week. Remember, it's the end of the week today, so imbalances usually on a Friday, you think they're a little bit better. They could be today, because it is effectively, it's like trading on a Friday. GM's an early look 1 million sell. AbbVie, that's weird. We see that 1.1 million buy. Merck early look 1.4 million to the sell side. There's a couple of penny stocks in there. Kind of ignore those. When you see the penny stock, like, who cares? Like, it would need to be like 20 million or something ridiculous for the notional.
They're hitting that guy.
So yeah, are they going to punch through?
They're trying.
Sometimes
they're trying to hit him. You could watch the.
Like, let's go. No, go to Sean's screen. I'm done. Like, I'm just going to show you guys Walmart, that big selling.
Not really doing much, but see, okay, here we go. There it goes. It's gone. Oh, I wanted to see. So it has a print with an M. Where's that big? Or there it is. Use.
I think my X is from M and then.
Oh, okay. So so they changed the printing there on that one. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, I saw. Yeah, they have MEM. They have MEMX and MIAX.
It's the same.
There's MIAX right there.
They have two.
So that prints with an M, and the other one's with a U. So the reason why I look for those trades is that they did get printed. So the trader did not pull their order; they got filled. So right now, either that trader is not laughing, but they either got that, like that was either, we don't know if it was a sell or a short sale.
Yeah.
So we don't know if that trader is now short 200,000 shares, or were they long from here and they just covered right there. Like, it's no surprise that that's sitting at 99s. Like, that's the strategy that we use. Like, if I'm trying to get shares, I don't want to necessarily sit at 19. We'd sit in front of it. To me, it was just surprising to see it all on one gateway. But obviously with the liquidity in this market.
You know what, that poses an interesting question, because I thought about this. So quickly, before I get to that, I just reloaded third time here on SMCI. It looks like it's going to break that local resistance as well. The market is trying to bounce, so there you go. We got a couple of times in there. We're able to get it for 10 cents twice, and then now it's going to break out. So staying away from it. It was a trend break trade. There's the setup. Didn't even break VWAP, so no follow through on SMCI. Now it's taking out the top. But I bet you Uber even looks better. Yeah, look at Uber. Like, that was a better one. Shout out to the chat. Much better trend break. Why? Because it's a tighter entry closer to the high when it's breaking the trend, so you have more room for it to fall into the volume weighted average price. SMCI, I'd just been watching all day, so I noticed that trend break. But the question what I was going to sort of posit is, it's actually a rule, and one of the reasons why you see the purple for us is you have to disclose every single order, if it's a sell order or a short sell. It's actually a rule in the market, which means the market has that data. So it's technically in there whether a print in the time and sales is someone going short or someone getting out of a long position. So should that be something which is publicly disclosed, and everybody's time and sales reflects that, as we come right back in after I get it.
Shout out to Los Polos Hermanos. I mean, that's why we're here. I mean, I talked about how, it looks like a lot of my strength is just doing what we're doing right here, but I actually think it's in tape reading. So, and that's shout out to you, Los Polos, right there. Great analysis. Normal traders wouldn't even know that. Yeah, so look, here it comes right back down in again for us right there. And just like Neil said, look at the market come right back down. Your SMCI is probably in the money now. So this is part of the problem with this market, and we talked about that. Pretty volatile right now for sure. You don't think it is because of what's happening in the market, but it's very news-based. So anything could happen. Like that, and Intel moved down. I don't know what just caused that into 95, but look at that fill right there. So net going up while all this is happening, but not going up fast enough as we wish this market were to go down. Thank you. There you go. What's up, Tammy? Yeah, man. I mean, finally Intel goes down, but not enough. This trade, we may wind up, I was talking about this with Obi about how it's just about that spidey sense. That's it, right? Like Obi was talking about a trade today, and it was actually, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it wound up being a losing trade, and we were just talking about it. I mean, we all have losing trades on, and I was just saying, like, how did it feel? Like, when you were in the trade and you could feel it going against you and worse and worse and worse, was there ever a spot where it was like, it's time to get out, like, I'm not adding to this position? And what did you do when that experience happened? Because he was talking about how he's sort of trading with his risk or against his risk and all that kind of stuff. And, maybe his risk was too high and therefore he took too much risk. To me, nothing to do with anything. It's just, where are you in relationship to how you feel about the trade? Because if we're just going to pussyfoot around and not take any shares ever, you're never going to make money. So you got to get that feeling of holding on to a decent position. And then, oh my God, and it's to what me and Neil talked about earlier today as well, is, oh my God, this is going against me. I don't want my account to blow up. So I need to get out, right? Or do you say, and this is what's changed for me, is I'm going to be stubborn about this, stay in the trade, and then, oops, there it goes, just like I thought. And how many times do we say that? And I'm starting to get the feeling right now with Intel. Kind of the same thing, like, why don't you want to go down? So this way, when I lose, if I lose more, like I've already talked about how much I'm trying to lose, so for me it's calm, it's nice and easy, we're fine. But if all of a sudden I wind up putting on 3, 4, 5 units, something like that on this trade, just because I'm like, you're not going up, and you're like, you're not, then all of a sudden, bang, it goes up, and then I'm washed out of those units. Now I've given my whole day back, and I'm like, oh man, why did I do that? Well, if I got that feeling to begin with, like I'm kind of getting now, let's not put on too much more risk. Let's just take the trade that we like, which is here at 1905, and then if I don't like the trade, I can get out right now for flat, and just regroup. There's always another trade. So for me, we've only traded 3 names today, and I mean, it is Palantir, huge trade for me today. Honestly, this was a great one. We've hit our goals with this trade alone. Google, Again, another very positive name, dropped it out, haven't got back in it. There's the move down. We got stopped out right there. And then the other trade is Intel. And we're just in this right now for the first time with you guys. We should have already been in the futures, but we're not. And like I said, man, we talk about this all the time. I'm not even sure how many symbols Neil's been in, but everybody has their own thing. I could double check Joe's and Sharif. I know Sharif is in more symbols than Joe. It's just about being comfortable with whatever style of trade you're on. And I'm very, very comfortable. And this is why I keep showing you guys, man. Yesterday was a great day. Hopefully today we can end it with a winner on this one. But even if it's a loser, we've already got it in our head how much we're going to lose. You know, give or take a couple fees. I can't get the exact math in there, and give or take where we're gonna get out if it does wind up falling down. Remember those imbalances. You know, before I throw it back to Neil, I know I've been talking a minute.
Walmart's actually pairing off.
Okay.
So it's getting smaller on Walmart, which makes it very uninteresting. If it's already pairing at 330,
Intel,
and imbalances aren't until 350, not very sexy, Walmart. I want that. You want it growing into 350, not shrinking. That was all.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say yesterday, because I wanted to look at yesterday's 350, because there it is right here. So Intel does rip up on yesterday's imbalances. All right, so I guess yesterday, and I don't have the number right in front of me, but I'm guessing it was a buy imbalance there yesterday for Intel. There's 350, like 350 is somewhere in here. So kept on going to the high side before eventually just kind of leveling off.
I remember punching out of an Intel short when the imbalances came out, so it probably was a buy, because usually that's what happens. It's like, it must have seemed like a small buy. I'm like, oh, that's just punch out. Usually that's what you want to do.
Nothing's doing anything.
Normal special, thoughts on Netflix looking for a 1 trillion market cap right before earnings. Either they beat earnings by a lot or want a soft pad for a miss. They can't get to it. It's not even close. What's the market cap at right now? They're not close to it. They're
not even, they're 40%.
Yeah, they're like, it's impossible.
400 billion.
Normal special, they're not even close. There's no chance of getting to a 1 trillion company after earnings. Can they get on the path to it? Absolutely, but that needs to be over $2,000, I believe, to get that big. Just going by what you just said.
No, it's 400. Yeah, it's I looked it up yesterday. It's 414 billion or something. So
14?
I did the rough math, like 2,300.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's not even close. I'll be look, if Netflix in the next year goes up to 2,300, it's $1 trillion company, I'll be very, very happy. I do not expect that will be the case. No. And I do believe we're in an environment now where there might be a little bit of just a higher probability that even if you have decent numbers, things go to the downside. All right, what's happening? Hertz is at VWAP. Day trader cut, thank you. That's right, 414, just like Sean said. That's what they are. Easy, you think 2035. I'm with you on that. Healing pain naturally.
It'll be way before
2035, I would sincerely hope it does. But yeah, for sure they're going to. It doesn't seem like Apple wants any part of the volume-weighted average price, but it is holding on to its trend, at least for all day. Whoops, I drew that pretty poorly.
I'm ready.
But since VWAP, I wanted to draw it, so it's like, yeah, it looks like that. I'll get rid of the other two. Let's go take care of some. Here we go.
Some talk. E-Signal right now looking like the winner out of all of this. You got to scan that QR code. Get it right now. Sign up. Just go do it. Hit that QR code. Grab E-Signal. Its first month is free. Trust me when I'm telling you, you will like the platform. And if you don't, cancel it. You get award-winning data. You get the best customizable charts in the business. You get real-time data of any market that you choose. Entitle yourself. If you're only a NASDAQ trader, just get NASDAQ entitlement. Save the fee, right? A lot of these other charting platforms build in the fee into what you're doing. You don't have any choice. On E-Signal, if you just want to trade futures, just pay for CME. You want to trade NYMEX, just grab that entitlement. Whatever you're looking for, I think that's a huge benefit. Obviously, it can get expensive if you entitle everything, but at the end of the day, you are in charge. There's the scans. This is what we're talking about. I'm looking at one right now. Look at the scans, get all that going, customize it. It's compute. You can curate your own lists, or they'll do it for you. Equities, options. Joe's talked about the option chain before. Easy way. Look at all that information. News feeds right there at the bottom right of your screen right now. It's actually hooked up to Dow Jones Newswire. You can grab that as well. And I don't even know about this, but mobile app, that's right. I said I'd download it. I'm going to check out the mobile app hopefully this weekend on E-Signal. So definitely get a quick look there and, join the E-Signal revolution.
Yes.
That's what it is. The e-signal revolution joined today.
You also get the imbalance locator in there. And to answer the question, someone just asked, what does PV mean here? So obviously size is the amount of the current imbalance going into the closing auction. PV is the paired volume. Add those two together. That's the total number in shares of the orders going into the auction. So if we looked at Walmart, because I don't even know what FNF is, you're talking about 2.67 million shares. If they closed it right now, the print would be 2.7-ish shares, and there'd be 1.3 million to the sell side on Walmart. So that's what it means. At 350, those numbers will update. This is just an early look as to the orders that are coming into the system. If you go to your broker, you might be able to get this as well. Usually it's just in time, and you'll probably have to pay for it. Nothing in life is free. Nothing in the trading world is going to be free either. We get it with our platform here at Real Trading. But I can tell you, if you have level 1, level 2 with eSignal, you can get the imbalance locator. And most brokers should have it, and they should also have an explanation. We have a video you can check out on YouTube where we explain this in depth, where you don't have to worry about things going on, and you can watch it and you can rewatch it, where we go through not just what everything means in the locator, but how you might use it to execute a trade. So it's worth checking out. I believe we actually might have a couple of them in there. So go check that out. You can just search us at Trader TV Live on our both of our channels, and then find that video by searching for imbalance locator. Hertz is now dipping into the volume weighted average price again. So it was only about 10 minutes till the imbalances come through. Last couple times, see what it did the last couple times? Bottoming tail candle, and then quick reversals. That's what you want to see for a quick little long. And whether it happens or not, I can't predict, but the last couple times it did do it, so I want to be on this one if it does. We got a couple of people saying UNH is bouncing, shorts are covering. Yeah, I suspect you might get a relief rally in UNH, but I'm still feeling like you let that one calm down. I made a decision that I didn't want to own that stock anymore, and every time I look at that chart, it has been so cash money to buy 450, 440 to 450 on UNH for the last couple of years that it's very, very enticing to want to break that rule. So I'm contemplating whether I want to do it, but it's a next week thing. No matter what, I wouldn't do it till next week. But I just think that stock could be at like 500 to 550 in like a week or two, and then if you don't buy it, you're looking like an absolute sucker. So there's your kind of buying emerging above VWAP. They ran some stops potentially under VWAP at 70. Stop at the prior bar low, first offer at 1-to-1, and we'll see if this can fly a little bit higher on Hertz. I don't suspect Hertz is going to have an imbalance, but I don't like to be, I never want to get into things at right in front of 350. So we wanted to be able to take this before we got the imbalances coming out. If they did have a sell imbalance, we'll probably just get stopped out on this. But we want to play this into the 820 high. We got it at 77. We'll get some out in front of 8. We'll get some out in front of 820, and we'll see what happens on Hertz. The only thing that's looking good as the market, well, actually the market's coming back a little bit here. Oh, I wanted to show you my NASDAQ chart, and that just crashed. So I'll show you the ES chart. So the market coming back a little bit here, but losing VWAP. Yeah, coming back, but losing the volume weighted average price. That's not necessarily a good sign. I'm going to double check on SMCI, because that might set back up for me on SMCI. Topping tail. What's interesting is it did the topping tail candle after I got out. So after I got it, it just ran stops even higher. So there's no chance I would have still been in this after it ran it a couple of times. But it's too sideways. When something breaks a trend, you want to get that early look on the trend break, like something in here, which we weren't able to capture, unfortunately. Mu Life, Hertz is going to fly after market, just like yesterday. You know what? I can't even say I disagree with this, because this has happened, and actually, oddly enough, the last time this happened, it was in GameStop. I don't remember what day it was in GameStop, but it was a similar thing. You found a support level, you were looking for that big run that would break out the high of the day, and it's like, it just won't go. And then I jokingly said, after I got out of it at like 356 or something like that, yeah, it's probably gonna pop in the aftermarket, and then it popped in the aftermarket when there's no halt rules and all that kind of crazy stuff. So you never really know. We're just playing a scalp trade here on this bad boy in there. Does it have gamma levels? Don't know what you're referring to. And Al Mystery Hub wants SMCI to go up. I'm not shorted anymore, but in a general sense, I always hope all stocks go up.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just in general. Like if I'm not in a short, then I want the stock to go up, because why would you want anything to go down for anybody unless they're short?
Like, so Palantir is probably, I mean, you want to trade something, as we were just talking about, something with some oomph to it. And, you know, right now, this is a really, I've already said, it's a pretty blah market. It seems like right now, as we wait for some more news, and happy Easter to everybody. We are not on tomorrow. I'm, at this time tomorrow, I'll be in Brampton. Cheery. We have a game at 9 and then a game at 3. So hopefully we'll be celebrating a victory at this time tomorrow. All right, so that's Palantir. You know, again, look at the move. At least it's moving around a little bit. We did get stopped out there. We thought we were pretty good when we got stopped out because it does go down to 93, but now back up to 90. Like, this is what I'm saying about just how this market's moving. That's 93 flat. That's 93.90, 93.80. So that's up 80 cents right there on virtually nothing. So very, very hard to game something here. Like if you went short underneath VWAP, you know, you might be stopped out and then boom, right back down in again. So I don't know, man, a whole bunch of nothing going on. How much Intel do I have left? I mean, I've been getting in and out of it. I probably have like 80% left. I'm not, most of these trades are 5 or 10% out. So maybe 75%. I'm not, I have a part fill. I'm waiting to get some more at 1905, but I'm honestly thinking about just canceling that. Like when those imbalances come out, we could get run and then bang, 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 we're out of it. So I don't know. I don't really know what to do. Yes. Yeah, Good Friday to tomorrow. Yeah, so we are not on tomorrow at all. Let's have a look at Google. What is it doing since that huge move down where there was a temporary loss, I guess, in I guess their FTC case or whatever. And then I don't know if that was exactly the truth or whatever, but that's an algo-driven move to the downside right there. And then it looks like 150.75 has been holding there for Google. We did also talk about a potential Tesla short earlier. As we broke below VWAP, we did have a retest right there at 241, but again, you're just at 240. So pretty choppy market. All you really had to do was wait for the ultimate bottoms, and those would have filled, or the tops, basically since 11 o'clock. So I want to thank everybody for staying here with us. I wish there was a little bit more opportunities to get in and out today. We could have done more on the futures. Like I'm actually having net-wise a very similar day to yesterday where we traded Apple and we were up and down $9. It's able to take advantage of Palantir and Google early and really nothing else, as Intel is threatening to make me give some back. AMD, I guess, you know, another negative name here if you want to short something into the close. Like we're four minutes away now, and then everything changes. So for me, let's just have a quick look at the only position I'm in, Intel, and puff pass on that one. Like it's not even on my radar. Like we had shorted it early because I thought that we had found this level and was like, okay, we'll go short against 19. So we averaged it in. It was good. We've only gotten out for positive trades. And if we got out right now, it would be a positive trade. But let's just see where it winds up going. Like can I really bid 95s and take out 2 pennies? All right. We'll go 90.
Balances are coming.
So crazy. I know, but all right, we'll get out of 5 more percent. 5 more percent. 5 more percent there at 95 if it goes down, and then we'll see what winds up happening. So here comes 96. Yeah, well, hopefully it'll spit a little lower, and we'll be able to celebrate a win. Okay, let's go. Give me those 95s. Give me those 95s. Did we get those 95s? Oh, we got those 95s. So nice little out there at 95. And remember, I'll use inverted gateways. So what that means is I'll pay a slight fee to get the fill so that I'm hit first. So you could do that on dark pools. You could do that on, we have access to over 80 different gateways to okay, Hertz. Bill Ackman's posting again. He must not be out yet.
Yeah, that spike just took me right into the supply zone at 825. I can tell you, when this popped up, someone popped a massive, can I show it here? The second that popped and went to, yeah, I got 77s to first at like 810 and then 825. But the second it hit 25, someone popped a big order at 850. You can't see it now, but it was there before. Someone popped a big order at the 850 level. Maybe they thought it was going to give them a shot here, but it is cresting at that supply zone in the 8-quarter range. Like lots of people are covering shares in there, but that was the target. It was VWAP into here. Remember I said I wanted to resolve it. either it's breaking through or nothing is happening going into the imbalances. There's a couple of things I want to look for at these imbalances in the last 10 minutes. But yeah, I didn't hear that story on. I didn't hear any story on it. Was there a story on it?
Yeah, I have here. Bill Ackman posts on X. We began accumulating shares late last year, and as of today, we have a 20% stake in the company. So as of now, so remember he said as of today. So I bet you as of now, he ain't got that stake too much anymore. But there it is. It's a nice move down. Let's go. As I said, man, we're going to go 3 for 3 here today. Now with Intel, as we start to get out of INTC. The money is here. It's coming through one more time. There goes Intel. Be patient. Stick with your plan. Thank you, Intel. We are now out of half of this trade. What up, Abe?
We know that Bill Ackman has a passion for long tweets. I'm going to try to summarize this as quickly as I can. Basically, a lot of things are said in this post from Bill Ackman. He did confirm that as of today, that he and Pershing Square have a 19.8% stake in Hertz, which again, that was supposed to be as of yesterday, as reported by CNBC, so a bit confusing as to when this stake was all accumulated. Regardless, basically saying that he believes it will be not necessarily tariff-proof, but a good choice given auto tariffs because it's used cars. He says that Hertz is part of an oligopoly within the industry, so he thinks that's a good choice. And he also thinks it could maybe even potential with another investment of his, UBER, but then he ends it with investing as risky. So very long, very action-packed post here from Bill Ackman with regards to his purchase of HTZ. Now just a few seconds left till the imbalances. Back to you.
He must not be out of all of it. He needs a little bit more action there. So we'll see what happens into the close. Good trade there
20%
on
is a
HTZ.
lot. Yeah, 20% is a big chunk.
Let's go.
There's no way you're foolish enough not to be taking some profit on the way up if you're that big. But the selling's still at the same spot. Like it's trying to go huge volume here as it's churning through at the quarter. But it's not even like there's an iceberg or big size on the level 2 on Hertz at this level. You're just getting a bunch of refreshing. Like see, you're not getting through the quarter. That's all. Like nobody. It's like 1,000 shares at the most. The only big order I saw was at 50. It didn't even get close to that. So they're just refreshing and sort of going back and forth. You see it come in there when it hits the 20s. People pop in on the offer and take their fills. So glad to be out, but the imbalances are out. It's nothing. It's kind of a nothing burger. Apple's 1.6 to sell. Tesla's 1.2 to buy. AbbVie is there 1.2 to the buy side. So nothing huge. I'd say Tesla at 1.2 million would be the most significant because usually you don't see much of anything on Tesla. And that went, where did that go? Yeah, $1 move on Tesla, but the algos are going to chew half of that up for sure.
Today at my kid's school was ramen day.
They have ramen? That's legit.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
That's
it was. Well, no, they were just having it today. It was supposed to be Subway Day, so they got Subway, and then they were supporting some group, and they made some ramen. There it is, man. So we'll end the day real good there. We did get those 91s on Intel. I'm still waiting for the. Oh, actually, I have too many shares now down there at 86. I was waiting down here. Again, that's 89. I was waiting at 86. I'm going to put a bid there and see if we wind up getting that fill just to end it off today. Again, just like I said, just 3 names for me today. And I think we only had 2 names yesterday, 3 today. So 3 today? Yeah, Google, Intel, Palantir, yeah. So pretty good day overall though in the markets. For me, we didn't do too much damage. We're basically at virtually the same levels that we were at earlier on in the morning. We did re-put on this Palantir trade, which had given us some profits there as well. And then the most recent one was Intel. And Intel just looks like this for me. Short, out. So if you've just been sitting here with me for the last hour, sorry, it's been a little boring, but at least it's been a profitable one if you've taken the trades that I put on, right? And so it has nothing to do with that. We are sitting at a spot where I'm just trying to show you, and I talked about the size that you could have maybe used at 19 there. This is what the good thing about Intel is that it does allow you to trade with bigger size because it doesn't move as much, but still is affected when the market moves and when you get semi-news and everything like that. And this is more of a trade for a prop floor, right? Where you can get in and get out and you don't have to worry about PDT or anything like that. Multiple trades there, multiple ins, multiple outs there for Intel. But at the end of the day, we take a pretty decent move, man. We're short here at 98.5. We got 91, 7 cent range. I mean, I'm not even sure what the true range is here in this afternoon. It's probably less than 7 cents. So not too bad. In Netflix is going to be quite a good earnings bonanza. That should be really fun. That's going to happen at 4 p.m. I'm going to join myself and Adara and Mr. Steve Tileman.
Yes.
Thank you. From Trade the Pool. So we'll talk to Stevie Boy later on, and we'll figure out what he's all up to. And we'll see if I can get him to tell me about a trade he's interested in. That's Steve Tileman from Trade the Pool. You want to thank him.
What does he want to buy?
Yeah, what is he looking at? Is there anything he's looking for there?
Or short.
Yeah, I could do short. We talked about that with Mr. Brian Shannon on Tuesday, and he was loving not loving. He just said the trade that he would be putting on would be a short. And the SPY's been now down yesterday pretty nicely, and I think up today, right? Flat today. We were up 1%.
Well, it was red like a split second ago.
Well,
yes.
Yeah,
it's essentially exactly flat, but the Nasdaq's red, that's for sure. Yeah, so forget about Hertz is not breaking through that quarter mark. You're already pulling back. The sellers are in control. So we joked that if it was going to run the high, it would probably run the high in the aftermarket. Well, that could be the case. This went absolutely ham in the aftermarket yesterday. Whether or not it's got enough juice today, somebody is churning through and unloading a bunch of shares at the quarter mark. Let's see if they're still there in the aftermarket. Let's go to the desk.
Brought to you by Trade the Pool. First, it was commission-free trading. Robinhood made that happen. But the next shift is even bigger. Limited risk trading. Trade the Pool is rewriting the stock trading rules because your only risk is a flat one-time fee that is as low as $47. How is that even possible? You're trading on the company's capital. No deposits are needed, no personal capital at stake. This is about breaking barriers, not your savings account. Just real opportunity without the fear. So scan that QR code to get 10% off and join tradethepool.com. Also join Sean and myself for the market recap show right away. We will have a special guest from Trade the Pool, Steve Tileman. Back to you.
Thank you,
Adara.
Adam. Thank you, Adara. Thank you, Adam, in the chat there. Yeah, I hope it's clear to see that people can see that I'm putting on winning trades lately, and I'm really glad to have that part of the repertoire. I think I'm trading a lot better now than I had been at any time in my career, especially on these names. So thank you for having that journey with me. We just got some more out at 93 there on Intel. I was waiting for 87s down there where VWAP is, but we did not get that fill, so unfortunately we're gonna have to wait and see if it comes through again. The flip up there, actually I didn't even look at the imbalances, to be honest with you, here today. Yeah, still Nvidia on the sell side, bunch of
buy now.
Buy side, yeah, with 2 million shares. So that's gonna be the biggest one here into the close. Maybe I'll just cover some. Maybe I'll just cover the rest of Intel right now at 92 and just call it a day. Let's go to 91s. If it goes down, then I got to go up to the desk because I do think Netflix is going to come immediately at 4 o'clock.
Might be pretty quick.
So it normally is, man.
Yeah,
like
Netflix
bang,
is
bang.
pretty fast.
It's like Mankind. Bang, bang. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
Oh, but I have a weird. I love Norman Smiley. He's just,
oh yeah, Norman Smiley. There's Intel.
Legendary jobber. Legendary jobber.
Yeah, we like Norman Smiley right there. Okay, there goes Intel down through 1890. We rode the bear a little bit here in the afternoon. I want to thank everybody for watching. Join me and Adara on the market recap show in just a couple minutes. It's a 3 for 3 kind of day, although I'm holding up 4 for the 4 horsemen. Shout out to Arn Anderson and my guy, Rick, the Nacho Boy Flair. So we'll see everybody in just a couple minutes. Happy Easter to all of you, and I'll see you on Instagram and on Twitter throughout the weekend. Go follow your boy. Peace.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a wild one. Netflix is going to be a mover. That's just how they do. I was going to tell you guys a quick second ago, I don't think anybody is. You're probably not actively trading on Hertz, but there was whoever was the big seller at 50 might have stepped down and gotten filled in the teens. They threw about a third of the size that I saw that was at 50 when it was popping up. They threw it on the offer here and took a fill in the 815 range. So it's starting to chew through a lot of this selling, but let's be real. Going into the close here, Hertz is a great story. It's great for Ackman, and I'm sure he's made himself some extra money Not that he needs it, but Netflix earnings after the bell, that should be a big one. We've seen it move precipitously before and then be kind of boring the next day. The good news, they have all weekend to decide what to do with it on Monday. That might change the way it behaves, hopefully, because a lot of times we see the stock, it gaps one way or the other, and then you don't do anything all day long. I'm hoping it's got volatility the way that we saw down there in UNH. I don't want it to go down, but UNH's volatility was absolutely spectacular here today. Like, it actually gave you follow through. Man, that bottom is looking very good here on UNH. Every time I look at it, it's like, Neil, you bought this multiple times at the stock at this price, and I'm going way back. And it's been really, really good. Sort of just take it in and out and just sort of grab that long, play it into the high, maybe hold some. But ever since, I have not touched it. I think on Monday I might change my tune for UNH. I see in the chat someone saying Fubo with a major move. Really? That didn't hit any of my scanners, oddly enough. No, Fubo's not doing anything. Looks like maybe, you had a volume spike, but no follow through, so not really. I can see why it might have hit one of your scanners, but nothing really happening in Fubo. So I'm going to be looking at Netflix. They do tend to report rather quickly, so this could happen like right after the bell, seconds after the bell. You'll know it when you see it. With a stock like Netflix, it'll have already gone 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks before you even know what the numbers are. That's just how they roll. We can see some double digits for sure on this bad boy. And they are buying it going into the close as well. So it's buying going into this. Not a ton. You're still hanging off VWAP, but strong buying going into Netflix. Going to be a red day overall for the NASDAQ, barring like something at the last second. But we'll see if Netflix can go a lot stronger. Rivian Millionaire, Netflix was 820. What? 820. 820. I mean, yeah, we haven't seen that price in a while. Hopefully we don't see any 820. I hope you don't mean it's going to go to 820. That would be nasty. But we only have about 15 seconds to go in here to the close. I said we should get this one pretty rapidly. Let's go on over to Adara. I like the purple because I'm in it. The closing bell brought to you by Worksport, WKSP over there on the NASDAQ. So check them out, and we'll see Netflix pretty soon. All right, there you go. Market is closed, everybody. So Netflix obviously not out yet, but it's only been a couple seconds here. Ends up closing a little bit of a pullback there at the end, ends up closing up about a point there. Want to give a big thank you to Fabian Ramin on the ones and twos. Obviously, making us look and sound good. The boys on the midday. I know Joe hopefully has a great weekend. He's heading on down to Dallas. So thanks to Joe and Sharif. Of course, always Brandon and Adara as well, doing a fantastic job. And I got to shout out my boy Sean for sure. Got to shout out the chat, man. You guys do an amazing job out there. I love the discussion. I love the community. I love the fact that you guys help each other out answering questions. You do a great job. Shout out to you, Ari Pages as well. But we're expecting Netflix earnings really quick. You got special guests. You've got Sean. You've got Adara. You got the market recap. Hopefully a big ass up move in Netflix because a lot of us own this stock, myself included, and it just started to go up. So Netflix up about 20, 30 bucks. Let's go to the desk because Netflix is flying to the upside. Let's go.
Yeah, it's at 990 right now, 993. There goes Netflix. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I just go from there to here. What's up, Adara? Hope you're doing well. Right now, shout out to Ramin, Fabian, and everybody. There's Netflix bouncing around, a couple fat fingers. I don't see it hitting yet.
I don't see it hitting
So I don't think Netflix is out quite yet, or if it is, we don't have it yet. Adara obviously perusing and scanning through the world of X. So it doesn't look like, unfortunately, if it's out already, then I don't really see much action here on Netflix. So Adara, what are we expecting? What do we have? What does it look like?
I want to make it very clear to everybody here. I only have this on X. This has not been yet posted on Benzinga, but regardless, it's reacting to these numbers that are posted, so I want to read them nonetheless. I always like to provide caveats because you never know when things are going to spread falsely. Anyways, Netflix here, from what I'm seeing on X, $6.61 earnings per share. That is a beat versus estimates of $5.71. Revenue also looks like it was a beat. $10.54 billion versus $10.52 billion expected. They guided Q2 EPS here, $7.03. Revenue guide about $11.04 billion. Apparently that's above estimates, but they did not change or update their guidance for fiscal 2025. They also announced that they're going to have Reed Hastings, that's their new non-executive chair. See the numbers I'm seeing here officially now populating on Benzinga, same as the ones on X. So they did beat on EPS and they beat on sales, and we're going to show you all the numbers here. And then here we go. Reed Hastings is now transitioned from an executive chairman to a chairman and a non-executive director. I'm going to have to look more into this whole Reed Hastings business, but it's part of the report, so I'll look into it.
Yeah, so remember, everybody, it has absolutely nothing to do. We saw UNH get hit, obviously, on their report. They missed both sides, but then the guide was so much lower. So we'll wait to see. Netflix should be able to guide. I don't see why they wouldn't guide.
I mentioned they did guide, actually.
Netflix guided?
I did, yeah. I mentioned
okay.
Yeah.
So if they've already guided, and this is what we're doing, right now, I missed that. So if they've already guided and we're flat, then I'm going to slap a fail on Netflix. We were expecting more than a 10% move. That was the implied move on the options. I'd always like to see it move 10% one way or the other, so that those of you that are your at-home players could, sit in there and win on options. But it doesn't look like right now. I mean, I see the EPS. Is that what you're going to talk
I can
about?
go over the guidance again.
Yeah, I see it 7 versus 627, and revenues 1103 versus 1090. What do you think? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, they beat. I was just going to say that's what I'm saying. They beat on guidance. They beat on EPS and revenue. The thing with Netflix, though, is oftentimes there'll be some kind of metric that we don't see right away that is later released. Same with like Reddit. Like Reddit will have moves, and then we'll find out there's some metric that isn't like, DAUs or MAUs that we don't see reported right away. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait. One thing I will say last time too is Netflix last time gave us that fake out breakout above 1,000 and then sold off basically the whole earnings day one. So I wonder if it does the opposite here. We get a little bit of kind of a subdued reaction, then we pop. Regardless, I do think sometimes the history can give you a little bit of a sense of what the future is going to be. So I just want to put that out there for NFLX.
All right, yeah, great look there. And I think, if it's working, why break it, basically? I think Netflix just towing the line here a little bit it's a good guidance, but it's not blowing out any numbers or anything like that. So we'll see what winds up happening with Netflix. I think the reaction to the stock early right here in NFLX on a beat is that we're waiting for more deals, right? I'm waiting for the announcement of UFC. I'm waiting for more. Like, what's going to happen? They've already got WWE. What happens when Netflix and Reed Hastings goes for UFC, right? I mean, I think that's the next play. Could get that. We'll see if there's an announcement about it. We'll also wait to see if there is an announcement about any potential stock split coming through on that as well. We may, here it is, Netflix says we've rolled out Netflix Ad Suite, their in-house first-party ad platform in the US on April 1st. So they're trying to do some big things over there at Netflix. So we'll see. But if you look at a daily chart for NFLX, it's been a winner. No matter how you look at it, it's still above the 50-period moving average. Looks like it wants 1,000, I would say for sure. So that's my call. It's not a crazy one. I think that we could be in and around $1,000 tomorrow, and then we'll figure out what to do at that point. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a magnet there. We saw Nvidia had magnets as well when it was these prices, 1,000, 1,200, 1,250, so on and so forth as you go upside. So the high of all time, Adara, $1,064. Yep. We'll see if we can get that again. And there's that market cap that was in question, $418 billion. We talked about that. They're trying to get to $1 trillion. That's their goal, but they gave themselves a 5-year time frame to get to that. But that's not today's story. That's the story for right now. We'll have it up. If Netflix starts moving around, those of you that are in the chat, please let us know. This market recap show is brought to you by ProfitX. No, I don't see it on the screen, but I believe we are brought to you by ProfitX. So make sure you do check the description in the link in description for ProfitX as well. But today's story was UNH, and we did have a miss on the top and the bottom line and a negative guide. So UNH goes all the way down, and we can actually go over to a weekly chart to see exactly where UNH is. Right back here into 21. So if you go back to October of 21, those are the levels that we're at here on UNH. So, regardless, could be a buying opportunity there on some weak guidance for United Health.
I can go over all these Netflix numbers if you want.
Do you have more? Yeah, I mean, we could summarize it. Let's just look at a weekly chart for Netflix still. So a nice move up, and this is what I'm saying. No matter what these numbers look like, Netflix really starting to break out here. Again, even on a weekly, a great hold there of 800. What was this? Oh, this was COVID. I go, well, after COVID, then the move down. I remember that was crazy when Netflix made that move from $700 down to $200, and then now straight up. So those of you that don't think they can get to $1 trillion, I mean, 3 years ago, this was a $200 company, now nearing 1,000. So that's 5x there in 3 years. So Adara, time for you to shine. What is up with those numbers as Netflix right now on a 1 minute chart? Let me just get that up just so we can give everyone context of what's happening. Pretty flat here off the report. So why don't we review those numbers?
Yeah, let's do it. So revenue, $10.54 billion. It was a beat, and it was a 13% year-over-year increase. They beat across the board, so I'm not just going to keep saying they beat. I'll just talk about the increase year-over-year. Diluted EPS, 25% year-over-year increase. Operating income, 27% year-over-year increase. Operating margin, actually, yes, 31.7 versus 28.6 expected percent. Free cash flow up 24% year-over-year. Net cash from operating activities up 26% year-over-year. And they're guiding a 15% year-over-year increase in revenue. Now, let's talk about their regional performance. They did have year-over-year increases in every region. The APAC or APAC region here up 23% year-over-year. That was their best year-over-year gains. They did reiterate their fiscal 2025 guidance. And again, as mentioned earlier, they talked about the successful rollout of their ad suite. So also, there was something else I was going to say, and I don't remember with regards to NFLX, but here it is. It is pushing higher. Oh, yeah, here's my thing. Sean, I wonder, partially, if some of the reason for that very subdued move is we were expecting a stock split.
Right, that's what I was saying.
No, we didn't get one.
That's or a content deal.
That's
right?
True,
like what is the next lever to be pulled? And I think that we're all interested in that. So good call on that one. And yeah, we'll wait for a stock. It doesn't mean the stock split's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, so we just touched out to the highs. I was like, as Adair was saying, I was like, here we go. We got up to 995 right there on NFLX. Wow, look at the day we had today. It didn't seem like that, did it? As we were looking mainly at the NASDAQ today, so if we go over to QQQ here today, pretty flat day for them, only up 0.14. But look what else happened, man. We got a nice little move up today in XLE as the energy sector spider fund. Nice move up 2% as energy battles back. This is just a 1 minute chart. Let's flip over to a daily maybe. There's XLE trying to bounce off those bottoms. What a bottom that was, actually, up $75. Should have bought that. Coulda, woulda, shoulda 7 days ago. You should have bought everything. Nice move to the upside there for XLE. I was looking at XLRE as well. That is real estate. And you could see, again, in question, nice move to the upside there as well. TAN is here. Not really. I was going to talk a little bit about energy because, again, TAN is your solar ETF. I would always say when you're picking these individual, you're going to look at macro issues when you're picking individual ETFs. You know, does the new administration support solar? Do they support another one here, which is uranium? We've seen that move around. I like FSLR. Always thought that they were best of breed there, and I'm not really sure if I think that's still based on price action, but FSLR, nice downside move. Uranium, many different names available to trade in this one as well. One of the ones that tends to move, we had NNE is a big one as well, nanonuclear. That can get going as well. That's down here looking to break below 20. Actually, wow, this is a little ledge here. This could fall off quite quickly right there on NNE. The other name that I'm involved with, and we're still in the money on this one, and believe it or not, we're long at $11, and we had took the break, and it's really bad trading by your boy over here because we were long rate in this break. It goes all the way up to 30. I didn't do anything. So that was a double, almost a triple, and silly times makes for silly decisions, and that was a bad one. So we'll wait to see. Maybe we'll get something out this time if we get near that $18 or $19. SMR today, new scale, not doing a whole heck of a lot. Another recent IPO back a couple years ago. Quickly, let me just go back over to Netflix to show you that, and then I want to go over the heat map today to see what's going on there. Netflix at highs. We like that one. Netflix right now, $9.91. Again, on beats everywhere. I didn't even hear a number that Adair gave where the words lower came after. So everything.
I don't think there were any.
Yeah, everything was higher, higher, higher as we go. Want to get high like Netflix stock. You can see right here. Let's do a little refresh of this. This is the FinViz scanner. So you can see right here today, wow, consumers, huge, man. Walmart up, Costco up too, Procter & Gamble up, Coke up, Pepsi up, Philip Morris up, like everything here upside as we get going. Hershey was, well, I just saw Hershey there. What's up to my guy? There it is, Hershey 1.29%. Shout out to Raider Trader. But what was down today? Microsoft to the downside, down 1.1% there. Nvidia also down on TSM, right? We'll look at the TSM numbers in just a second there as well. Broadcom down, but a mixed bag because in the tech names, we had Qualcomm Broadcom, they're up 0.4. And you can see the rest. I don't know, you probably can't see that, but if you look here, we do have Texas Instruments up 1.25%, NXPI up 1 1/3. Marvell, I'm actually not sure what Marvell was doing today. CRM downside, Amazon downside, Google, Meta. So, you know, we haven't coined it, but many people have said the lag 7 instead of the mag 7. I mean, today it looks like that to be the case, where the only big name that I can see that's up is Apple. Down on Tesla, down 0.1, down on Amazon, down on Meta, down on Google, Broadcom, Nvidia, AMD, Micron, Intel, and Softy, all to the downside. But financials pretty good. We actually had not a bad number from AXP today. They were down worse. Goes out of the day down only 0.47 on earnings from American Express. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, all the banks today upside as we are now through earnings season and the banks look to be one of the winners. I mean, guess what, Adara?
What?
$3 away from 1K right now on Netflix as Netflix go boom right here. Here's the daily chart. Looks like Netflix wants to take out that 1,000 mark. So here goes Netflix. Nice report. Obviously a good quarter. We knew the numbers would be huge. I mean, ever since they have proof of concept with live events, right? We saw what happened with Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Broke the internet, broke their servers, broke their subscription model. All of a sudden, bang, that fight wasn't even good. Stock still goes up. Did people cancel or did they not cancel? They also announced their new ad suite that's been placed now since April 1st. So that's going to be important for them. Maybe they can customize ads a little bit better. Revenue coming in on the ad-based platform for Netflix. And right now, $9.98. Right now, we're getting close as the calculations start running through your mind. What is Netflix? And unfortunately, I'm not logged into a live level 2. Maybe I should. And there it goes. It's a celebration on the floors as Netflix.
I have the live level 2, but I also have the Zoom up to wait for our guests. So
I see Steve Tileman getting ready to go.
The spread's looking good. I'll tell you that for sure. The spread is looking very spready.
Yeah, I bet it is. All right, I mean, I can log into this, but at the end of the day, there it is. It's $1,000.
Oh. Okay, cool. I can show my level.
Okay, good. 1,004 right now, Adara, as we continue to go higher. There goes Netflix. I'm not sure if there's any. There's the level 2 right there.
Would you look at that?
Would you take a look at that?
You can't really see it.
I can't really see it, but I'll trust you. What is the spread looking like?
Oh, okay, it's about $1.70, which, we're doing a little bit of a bit creep. Now we're doing a bit of, it's doing some jumping right now. Jumping jacks. So I will say Netflix actually is one of the spready tickers. You could see up to a $2 spread on this, and I'll trade it happily. But right now, actually, tighter spread sometimes than you'll see on this intraday. We're seeing sometimes a 70, 80 cent spread. Right now, though, that $1,009 level, a little bit of a ceiling. We're doing a little bit of an ask creep. We might not be able to push above this 109,000. If we do, could look good. But right now, looks like a little bit of a wall, in my opinion.
Man, those ask creepers, up to $1,010. Good look there. The only thing that I'm seeing at 409, Netflix apparently says there's absolutely no change. Their full year 2025 guidance, so that's a banger for them. And they do forecast revenues just between $43.5 to $44.5 billion. Operating margin, this is the best, when you don't actually sell a physical product and you still, almost like software as a service, right? That's pretty much what Netflix is right now as a streamer, just software, building up that pipeline, getting the content, right? I guess they're more content than software, but at the end of the day, it's a service, and it's 29% operating margin right now on Netflix. All right, it's one of our favorite times throughout the whole day. It's when we get to have a guest on, and today it's another great one. So let's bring him in. It's Trader Talk. Oh boy. Mr. Steve Tileman from Trade the Pool. How are you doing, my good friend?
I'm doing great, Sean. How about yourself?
I'm exhausted, to be completely honest with you. What a wild week. I am actually thankful for the first time in my career, I think, to have a day off. I mean, I would love to come in and trade the markets every single day, but I'll take tomorrow off. Happy Easter to you and yours over there, Steve. So, and again, thank you for coming here today. Netflix, as we talk right now, is absolutely mooning. We're at 1022. For those of you that are watching Netflix, you're now up 6%, man. It was a little sleepy there off the earnings report, Steve. Steve. But there goes Netflix, nicely taking the upside. And I had sort of made the call, if we ever broke through that $1,000 ledge right here, that we could have a nice upside move. Steve, the last time we were here was March 25th. Right now, it looks like we're breaking higher. $1,022 was that most recent high. Any thoughts about the recent quarter? Did you have a chance to look at what was just released about 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, I got a chance to look over the numbers quickly. They all seem good to me as a layman. You know, I'm not an expert in the space. I'm a bit of a tourist, but it seemed like it all checked out. And, the stockholders are responding. You love to see it.
Are you a Netflix subscriber?
I am a Netflix subscriber on that new Black Mirror this week.
Man, we were actually talking about that on our midday show. It's one of our hosts' favorite shows. So a thumbs up from Steve. Oh, and from Fabian over there. Everyone likes Black Mirror. So, okay. So if you could pick one, I'm going to give you an opportunity right now. If you could invest $1,000 and we'll look back at this in 3 months, would it be Disney, Netflix, Amazon? What's another streamer? Let's just go with those three. Which stock do you like better, Disney, Netflix, or Amazon?
Man, that's a bit of a tough question. I'm not too big on Disney. I think that Amazon has a decent catalog. As far as purely streaming goes, I think I got to go Netflix though.
Yeah, same.
Just
Yeah, Netflix.
Leader,
love Netflix for sure. All right, every time you've been on now a few times, and we're just giving ideas out to the chat. So if there's any questions, if anybody in the chat wants to talk to Steve or let us know his analysis on anything, put it in the chat. Do you mind if we do that a little bit, Steve? If we throw some symbols at you? Okay, perfect. So we'll do that when that comes through. So I really appreciate that. So thank you for that, Steve. All right, earnings season is not too bad. I mean, I'm going to call up XLF right now that we're through banks. I think maybe the worst is behind us, possibly. Bank earnings, a little bit choppy here on the XLF, but at the end of the day, we're holding out okay. Today was another positive day. The big money center banks like a JP Morgan, this big yellow mark is earnings day. So we're still around where we've been. We had a nice upside move back down into 206 on that bad day. Now back up, holding the 200 period moving average. Is there a specific name in this space, whether it be Wells Fargo, Citigroup, Bank of America? You done any work in the financials? And if so, what are your thoughts moving forward here into Q2?
Like we mentioned about Netflix being the leader, I'm a big fan of sticking with what works. JPM is an absolute, a behemoth of a company. You can't bet against Jamie Dimon there. So I gotta say JPM, and number two, I would say Goldman. Goldman's still looking pretty good. I'm watching those 200 days though, a little sketchy, but see how it holds up.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous that we're underneath it. I'd like your call on Goldman because, if some of these banking regulations come off and if deal making starts to get going again, we do know that Goldman Sachs with their investment banking angle is another huge stock and just one of those monsters waiting in the side corner there, ready to come out. I do like that call there with Goldman Sachs. All right. We have some questions in the chat. I'm going to save that for Adara. Did you see that move today in UNH, by the way? UNH, a monster move down to 22% today. Obviously affects the Dow Jones because of the weighting, over 8%. Can you believe that? This thing is only constructed of 30 stocks. 8% of that is in UNH. Any thoughts about that space? And I know that if you're a technician and you're looking at charts, like a lot of us are, I've actually dropped down, and I don't know if you've even gone back this far, Steve, but goes all the way back here to November of 21 on a weekly chart for some key levels that we look at, and we're trying to bounce off of 440 right now on UNH. Any thoughts about the quarter? Any thoughts about UNH moving forward?
Absolutely. So yeah, I think the guide was pretty crushing for them. It's not often that you get or it's never a good sign, I should say, when you get a stock that's trading on momentum and all of a sudden you're starting to evaluate it at bargain bin levels here, right at the lows of the range. So like you mentioned, those low wicks going back a few months, that's definitely what I'm watching. I want to see the price reaction into that. And if it doesn't reach those, that's a sign of strength, right? And maybe that it's at the bottom of the range looking to move back up. I kind of think it might sweep those, though, at this point. It seems like momentum's pretty clearly to the downside here.
We've been talking about the 3-day rule. So that's something that I've sort of thought about and used. And there's been many, I guess it's not really a technical reason. It's just I like to let the stock settle down after earnings. So is that something that you like to do? Would you just hop right in if it's just at a technical level? We've had technicians on here as well that say, you know what, macro is nice, but I just trade off the chart. So if there's a level that hits, I'm a buyer. Where do you fit in all of that? Are you more art science? Are you for sort of 50-50 with the macro and the technical? What do you look at in a stock like UNH? Because there's a lot of stories behind this name.
Sure, absolutely. So, as my edge being primarily in the technician side of things, I crowdsource all of the macro and I let the market decide that stuff for me, more or less. Sure, I have my own personal beliefs and biases, and I'm learning more on the macro side. But the market is a sorting machine, right? So I'm listening to what the market is saying as a whole. Right now, the market is saying that the lifeboat is not a safe place to be quite yet. So I'm a little bit worried on that regard for UNH and the healthcare sector as a whole.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us, Steve. Some people in the chat asking about Affirm. We also had some other questions here. I believe it was about SoFi. So I guess of these names in this sort of fintech space, Affirm or SoFi? SoFi had a catalyst today as well with regards to their loan extension.
Let me see. I'm pulling up the charts on my other screen here. I do believe that I like SoFi more. I think it's very constructive. It's coming back into, it looks like, the base that it formed in late 2004. And it seems like it's a strong response off of that gap at $9. So I think that that's a pretty decent look. Affirm, I'm a little bit more worried about. It is trading back under its kind of neckline of like the stage 2 base. It's trading a little lower, it looks like, than SoFi in relative strength. So I don't have strong opinions on the sector, to be completely honest. I think it's kind of interesting with the how they deal with Affirm with consumer credit, and then SoFi with the consumer oriented banking. So I got some friends who like SoFi, so I'm going to go with SoFi there.
Any worries about like recent IPO talk about Klarna coming through as well with a name like Affirm, buy now, pay never, companies like that? Is there any problems with Affirm, Klarna coming into the action? Like, have you ever looked at IPO trading that maybe the space is getting a little saturated? And of course, buy now, pay later is the term there. But any thoughts about that with Affirm versus Klarna versus SoFi, anything like that? I know you just picked SoFi, but that could be, again, a little bit of a bleed on a name like Affirm, especially if we do get that next IPO for Klarna.
Yeah, I don't have too strong feelings on Klarna in particular. I'm not super familiar with their fundamentals, but whenever you have a new kind of potential disruptor in the scene, you can see kind of some shake and bake in the sector. So once that IPOs, it'll be definitely very interesting to watch the kind of reaction between the two, and maybe mess around with some ratio charts there to see relative strength in one against the other.
Right.
So I can't tell you now, but we can definitely check back in on that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I think right now they've even maybe shelved the Klarna IPO due to market conditions anyways. So maybe in a couple months we'll be talking about that again. A recent IPO is CoreWeave. And for me, again, because you just mentioned there your technical background, your rate here, we actually close. I've never seen this before, Steve. This was the IPO price, $39. Today's closing price, after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's call it 2 weeks of data, we close right back at the IPO price. What do you think about this? I mean, obviously we get some irrational exuberance over the first few days as everybody rushes to get in, and then they say, wait a second, maybe chips and leasing of these H100s and all that might not be the greatest business model. Have you done any work on CoreWeave here, or what do you think about a stock that comes right back into its IPO level again, such as CoreWeave? Any thoughts here? Are you hearing anything about this name?
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, I've been kind of looking for this retest for about a week now. There's been some pretty heavy put flow on my radar, and so it seems like they're getting paid. Congrats to the CoreWeave bears. Whenever an IPO stock trades back into its IPO price, it's very important to watch that. But I'll be honest, if you look at a lot of IPO charts, you'll see this irrational exuberance at the beginning. All of the private investors get to offload their shares. And usually it takes quite a while for it to shape back up. And often that'll happen well below the IPO price, right?
Right.
So, yeah, Reddit's a great example, Kava, stuff like that. Yeah. But I think it'll be really key to kind of watch its relative strength under there and not be too hesitant to pull the trigger. I think they're an amazing company with a bright future, maybe a unicorn. But we gotta follow the price action, and that'll be contingent on where it bases out.
Yeah, from one unicorn to another, ARM, I think, is another great example, as that was a very unique company that they don't really have any competition in the space with ARM, of course, and we had seen them go underneath the IPO price, coming out in around $55, and then just a few weeks later, trading at 46. So there is some potential there for a flush into that name as well. Not into ARM, but into CoreWeave back down below that price. So a good look there. Okay, some questions in the chat. And I know you and I have talked about this in the past as well. China, right? China's been pretty strong year to date. But now with apparently Trump not backing down on any of the threats there to China and their tariffs, and then China just saying, all right, let's dance. You know, what are we thinking here? Is this something that you would stay away from because of all of that talk and wait for some certainty here in China? This is FXI on a weekly. I'll switch it over to a daily for you just so you can have a quick little look at that. Definitely respected the 200 period moving average, and I know that me and you have talked about 200 periods before as well. So nicely stuck in between the 50 and the 200. Any thoughts right here? For me, it's hands off at these levels. On FXI, we could talk about any Chinese names as well if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely, Sean. So I'm kind of with you. It's kind of floating around in no man's land, so I'm not pulling the triggers. I am keeping feelers out. I was noticing a lot of flow on, I believe, 34 strike calls for May 16th. So yeah, they're targeting that exactly. They're targeting that gap fill. We do have, I would be inclined to be a little bit bullish here. We held the lower low or the higher low. We held the 200. We're starting to get some bulls taking shots in the market, taking their shots. So I think that I would not be surprised at all if we tap that and renegotiate that 200, or what is that, a 50-day?
Yeah, this is the 50. The pink is the 50, yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think that's what they're shooting for there. In general, I think that there's a lot of volatility in the space, but the market has proven to have bottomed, I believe at least, with the stimulus that Xi has instituted at the beginning of the year, end of last year. The market responded well. I think that volatility provides buying opportunities and fortune favors the brave, but probably a position to size small on if you're taking a stab down here or in the middle here.
I was just flashing through some Chinese names there. Many of them look completely different. PDD's near the bottom. NIO, of course, the EV name near the bottom as well. Alibaba bouncing very similarly to that of FXI. So I think I'd probably choose Alibaba maybe instead of the ETF. But yeah, I like Alibaba. Very, very similar talk. So look, this is what FXI looks like. This is what Alibaba looks like. So almost the exact same kind of bounce off of the 200 and now trying to hover there looking for the 50 period. The only thing about Alibaba, we had that gap to the downside there when that did happen. Let's just check back in. There's a lot of people asking about Netflix to see what's going on there. Netflix still holding that 1020 level. So that's going to look like that's going to be the temporary high right into there. 1,020 coming through. All right, we're going to have to let you go very, very soon, Steve, but quickly, GLD. Oh my, I mean, silver and gold, just keeps on going to the upside there. As we get our pickaxes out, Adair and I about to go find a mine together. This one making moves.
Where are we going to find that mine, Sean?
I don't know, where do you want to go? You want to go Chile or something like that? We'll find it somewhere. But anyways, gold continues, Alaska, continues to go higher here. You think this continues, Steve, with all of the sort of the uncertainty here and maybe a flight to safety? I think it's overextended personally, but what do I know? I'm not really in this trade. So any thoughts about gold and a potential overextension? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're seeing things the same way. It's a heck of a move, isn't it? So I started looking short because we essentially kind of surged to a measured move of double the most recent pullback. And often that'll be when you see some sellers step in. Okay. We saw a little bit. I took the tiniest placeholder in Dust, which is a 2x inverse ETF for the miners. Yeah, it's been beat on. So my thesis there is if gold does pull back, the miners are more overvalued and they will be hit harder. And this should provide a nice move to the upside if we get that. But I think I'm early. I got to say, I think I'm early. The price action at the end of the day and post market there was incredibly strong. I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised it's gold. Look at the chart, right? But I'm keeping an eye on it. I think that sooner or later, it's a very hard trade to time, but I think it will be very lucrative if we do time it. So another small position there, just keeping an eye on it. Right.
So do you know the bull 2x? Because I just look at GDX. It's Dust, and do you know what is the?
I'm not sure. I like playing the miners to the long side on the upside too for that torque, that extra torque. So I'm not actually sure what the ETF is. I usually play individual names like Newmont, NEM, or there's one that I'm a big fan of right now. It's IDR. And they have a ton of exposure to US. And if you pull out to the weekly, it's even more pretty. So they have a lot of exposure to rare earth elements, and as you probably have been keeping a tab on, there's a lot of excitement in that space. Yeah, so I think there's potential for this to be a big old cup and handle. I'm watching consolidation right at that neckline you're pointing at there, and I've got a little starter position from about 4% underneath this. I'm a chaser. I chase this one.
Yeah, no, that looks, I mean, you're 100% right, especially with all that talk about China, right? 90% of the rare earth metals in this world are located in China. So that could be a great call there. Idaho Strategic Resources, IDR. Steve Tileman from Trade the Pool. You guys up to anything? You're going live? Last week, I think you had a YouTube that you want everyone to go check out their stream. So where can people find you? What are you up to in the next couple days or weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking. So every Thursday, about 5 to 10 minutes after this, ideally 5 minutes after I get off here, we will be live on Trade the Pool's YouTube stream. You can check us out there, find us in the live tab there, or also on our Discord.
Okay.
And hey, if you want to give me a holler, I'm still at Justy Trades, JUSTY, and yeah, you can find me there, and I'd love to reach out and talk.
All right, perfect. And hopefully we'll be having you back again next week as well. So thank you so much, Steve, for coming through. And again, happy Easter. Thank you for spending your time. And we'll see if we can send some traders. Oh, NUGT, I think Nugget might be one of those ETFs that I just saw in the chat. And we'll see if we can push some of these viewers over to you right now. So thank you, Steve. Have a good one, and happy Easter to you and yours.
Thanks, you too. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, Adara, what a week.
Oh my God, tell me about it.
Yeah, I mean, even for you today, we had some special names for you. You had UNH, we had Eli Lilly, now we have Netflix. There's going to be a lot to trade here.
Ready Christmas.
That's not a bad one. Heading into the weekend, and you know, happy Easter as well.
Thank you, happy Easter.
Any plans at all?
I might FaceTime my family, but I guess my mom and my sister, they have Aquasize for some reason on Easter Sunday. Like they didn't cancel it for like the people who run it, so I think they might be busy. Yeah, I mean, I will probably FaceTime my family. What about you?
Yeah, so we are just loaded up. I mean, I was saying a little bit about this. Oh, Subway, that was a couple days ago. No, tonight we've got hockey and chess, and then tomorrow we're in a tournament. It's my daughter, but all weekend long. So that should be a lot of fun for that. And then we have 4 baseball events as High Park Little League starts up again this week. So it's that's part of me. Like I'm already tired, and it's Thursday night. So thank you so much to everybody for joining. So you know what this is here? I got something unique. It may take you a minute to get this.
Okay.
But this is here, and me and Adara do this. We do like a little pound at the end of the day. So this is an Easter memory from your childhood. So for me, I know, so I'll give you a second.
Oh, I have one.
There we go. All right.
When I realized I could not eat dark chocolate.
Do it again.
When I could not eat dark chocolate.
So how did you realize that? Did you have a reaction?
Yeah, so they give you like the little chocolate Easter. So I already knew I could not really do chocolate. I was like, oh, one of those teeny little tiny baby eggs will not kill me. And I was like,
oh, almost did.
Yeah, so do not do dark chocolate. That is not a fun Easter memory, but it is a memory. So
all right, great times over there. I hope everybody too. Happy Easter to you and yours. Happy Easter to you too, Fabian, of course, and Bears vs. Bulls, and every single person that's been watching our show. But we have to just do one more thing, and then we're out of here. We got to get out of here, man. I got to go to the barber, although I don't have much hair left. Yeah, I know, Fabian. My bad. We forgot about this. We'll do it real quickly, real quick. So shout out to Alex M. Did the stream stop already? Okay, there it goes. Alex MM. I was like, no one's. Mike DeRider, Streamlabs, Monty G, DJ 2 AM. That's always when the best music is played, man. The club's about to get out of there.
Yeah.
DJ 2 AM, get in that car, play your own tunes. What's up to Normal Special? Mike DeRider. Dave is here as well. Rivian Millionaire. Hopefully one day that stock will get us, $1 million as well. Alexander, everybody else. Mr. Westermeyer, happy birthday. We heard it was your birthday earlier today, so happy birthday and a blessed Easter to you and yours as well. Anybody, Adara?
Yeah, thank you to Michael DCA, Jose Perez, Marie, Mean G in 1980. Thank you as always to Bears vs. Bulls, everything you do. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, The Piper. Thank you, Normal Special. Thank you, Sir Poopy Paper Hands, NYC Urbanista, Vizbot, and Joseph Brown. All right, we're out of here. Happy Easter to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us one more time here today. That's it. It's a wrap, man. It's 4:35. Thank you for staying late with us. This is Adara. I'm Sean. We'll check you on Monday. We are dark tomorrow. See ya. Bye.